Ready to binge a Dragon Slayer's peerless regression, the Academy and the Dragon's legacy. Zeke's at Troy's elite academy, hiding his strength. He takes the legendary Black Knight Duke as his master, secretly hunting his dragon-slaying bloodline's buried relics. They have no idea who he is. You're about to see why that's their biggest mistake. A great family walks up and offers to bankroll this kid's entire future, and he answers by handing them homework. Everyone in this academy thinks Zeke Draker is the charity case here. He's the one running the charity. Keep that in mind. First, the setting, the Duchy of Troy, home to the greatest knight academy on the continent, the kind of place aspiring knights would give an arm and a leg to enroll in. Fresh semester every spring. Zeke just walked in the front door. He clocks the older students immediately, trained to perfection, basically adults in student uniforms. Compares them to the cradle kids he grew up with and arrives at his verdict. This damned family is rotten to the core. Great attitude for orientation week. Quick world building. Under the transcendent Draker name sit countless branch houses, and the three most powerful get called the Great Families. Draker of Strength, Zimmons of Wisdom, Vardek of Gold. Remember the last two, they've been bullying him since chapter 2. Even the kids from those three families are enrolled here, throwing their status around the place. Zeke's official position on all of it, none of my business. The man just wants his room key and some quiet. And what a room, the Platinum Mansion, training hall, library, the whole spread. Pureblood Awakeners get handed a floor master title, which means an entire floor to themselves. Hold onto that Pureblood label, by the way, it's the whole joke. The staff bow him in like royalty, and even Zeke goes, isn't this a bit much, even for a pureblood? This is the same guy who was a publicly mocked failed Awakener 2 chapters ago, now mildly embarrassed by his own red carpet. Decker's already waiting inside, our friendly neighborhood spy who Zeke's knowingly feeding fake intel, and he's got a gift. Brand new gloves. Zeke admits they are on a completely different level from his temporary pair. Small victory, noted. New gloves, so naturally he wants a new sword too. Decker explains Troy sits right by the Giant's Mountains, great iron, great craftsman, so an Academy alumnus's first weapon is basically always a Trojan. Standard issue starter blade. Except Zeke waves off the default smith. He's already got someone specific in mind, a craftsman named Halbert. Decker's never even heard of them. Which, from a guy who's lived this life once already, means remember that name. Decker reminds him classes start tomorrow, please review your documents. Zeke, always with the nagging, I get it. 12 years old, going on a 40-year-old man who's been asked to do the dishes. But here's why an isolated floor actually matters to him. Total privacy means he can grind his draconian skills with zero audience. The locked skill tied to the 100 karma he somehow already has. He's not resting up here. He picked a training room. Then a dinner invitation lands from floor master Riene. Zeke's entire reaction is Riene, isn't that cute? And in the same breath he clocks a southern accent off the messenger. The man physically cannot stop reading people. Rena Tirun herself welcoming him and pre-apologizing for her peculiar family. Reminder, last time these two met, she broke her own personal no-aura vow just trying to land a hit on him. Now she's hosting him for dinner. Growth. And of course he can't just eat. He watches her channel aura from her lower abdomen and reads her like a stat sheet. She's the Lightning Knight, already eyeing the purple knight rank, but her swordsmanship's stuck in a rut. He diagnosed her over appetizers. Plates cleared, she gets to business. She wants Zeke to accept the Tirun family's support. This is the pitch the whole chapter's been quietly walking toward, so let's actually hear it out. Her logic's genuinely solid too. Purebloods get privileges, this floor's living proof, but zero benefits to your actual growth. No centuries of academy know-how, no personal instructor, and you fall behind no matter how rich you are. That's the whole point of support families. Her closer, even Abel Draker, youngest person ever to make White Knight, current Black Knight, leaned on the Zimmons family for backing. And note that's Abel, not Bell the Butcher who cornered Zeke last chapter. This bloodline just keeps producing terrifying sons. Then the personal knife, the Tirun patriarch told her Zeke isn't getting any support from his maternal family, so she says it flat out, accept the support, Zeke Draker. She genuinely thinks she's tossing a drowning kid a lifeline. He says no, doesn't need a single thing beyond what he already gets as a pure blood. And there it is, the charity case declines an entire great family like it's a dinner mint. Told you, richest man in the room, and he doesn't spend. Rich people flex by spending money. This kid flexes by not needing yours. But he doesn't leave her empty-handed. In return for the meal, he offers exactly one piece of advice. Your sword's got too much strength behind it, and you're way too conscious of those men watching you. The tip is somehow more valuable than the money. Don't meet attacks head-on and try to overpower people, he tells her. Flow around them, cast the strike fluidly aside, and land one single delicate blow. Do that, and you'll grow several times stronger than you are now. A blue-class healer coaching a lightning knight, as you do. Thanks for the meal, and he's gone. The part that got me, he didn't guess. He read her exact flaw over one dinner, and she knows he nailed it. She invited him to scout him, got scouted right back. Because Rihanna finally sees what he saw. She'd been so obsessed with becoming worthy of the Tyrann name that she was pouring all of it into her blade. Everyone called her a genius growing up. Not one single person ever gave her real advice until the guy who just turned down her money. So she's left staring at his back going, Zeke Draker, just who are you? Which is the exact question this entire academy is about to be asking. My bet, he doesn't accept a single support offer all arc. He collects debts instead, one meal at a time. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. This kid pulled an all-nighter to grind and wakes up fresh as a rookie because his class passive is straight up infinite stamina, and in a school built entirely to exhaust you, that's quietly the most broken stat on the board. Hold onto that stat, by the way. Whole chapter's a war of attrition, and our boy literally cannot be worn down. Meanwhile, he's just vibing, pure blood awakening now, special class dorms, and he admits it. Money and power aren't everything, but nothing quite hits like this. Enter the welcoming committee. Owen Zimmons, third son of the Zimmons, one of the three great families, slides in with the classic "Oh, you're in the special class too." And if you've been here since chapter 4, you already know Owen's whole deal. Because Owen doesn't bully with his hands, schemes are a Zimmons specialty. He uses other people to do the damage and keeps his own image spotless. On the power chart, he's a D-tier fighter with an S-tier PR department. So Owen's whole opening gambit is petty texting. Was it the one on my desk? You didn't reply. Zeke, unbothered, hits him with the driest line. Why do I have to reply to every single one? You can watch this man's ego audibly deflate. Then comes the villain staple, how could you not know me? Zeke just shrugs, guess those from the cradle aren't worth much after all. He's not scared, he's bored. That's the read here. Fear is a stat and Zeke's is 0. Owen won't fight himself, so he sends a proxy, Durbin Loswell, who insists people call him Durbin the Mighty. We're told high-ranking students here can do basic aura manipulation, so on paper this cadet outclasses an aura-less healer hard. And Zeke just clocks the branding. A cadet that isn't even a knight has a pseudonym. Genuinely the most damage done in the scene, and no one's thrown a punch yet. Then the power gap flips instantly. Aura manipulation should hard counter a guy with no aura, but Zeke's fought a future mercenary king and a gate knight prodigy. Durbin's a training dummy that talks. This is a tier mismatch dressed up as a fair fight. Durbin's down and Zeke doesn't even celebrate, he just looks at Owen. So, who's next after Durbin the Mighty? Hurry up and pick. Treating a room of aura users like a queue at the deli counter. Owen recovers with you sure like to bask in your own glory, Zeke Draker. Rich, coming from the guy whose entire class rank is other people's borrowed muscle. And then Zeke drops the actual reveal of the chapter. This special class, not special. Most of these people are just Cradle alumni. What special class? This is just the Cradle class. So all that aura swagger is entry level. The scaling ceiling in this room is way lower than the name implies. To hype the freshmen, they wheel out a legend, Dean Howard Draker, Command-in-Chief, the hero who supposedly stopped the Eastern Empire's invasion 20 years ago on resourcefulness alone, big S-tier war hero energy. Except Zeke, who lived this once, knows the truth. Howard leaked intel to the enemy to save his own skin, and it just happened to throw them into chaos. He's simply a traitor that got lucky. The whole legend is a stat inflated by an accident. And here's the grudge that actually matters. In Zeke's past life, this exact man got him kicked out of the academy. Lost the only place he belonged, wandered the Duchy of Troy, got caught by slave traders and sold to the Southern Cartel. So when I said fear is 0, the hate is not. Told you the war of attrition mattered. Class kicks off immediately, swords up, head to the special class indoor arena. Which, given the guy with infinite stamina just walked in, feels less like a lesson and more like a stress test for everyone else. Turns out even the special class has to learn dragon slaying basics, and Zeke's read is brutal. I spent 2 years learning what would have taken a person 3 months. A regressor sitting through remedial class is comedy, but it also tells you how badly his past life wasted his ceiling. Then the instructor arrives and the room's temperature drops. Young, wearing the formal Draker uniform, this is Andre Draker. Andre the Rose Knight, not a pureblood awakener, and he still graduated the academy early and left Valhalla as valedictorian. A once-in-a-century genius who was literally awarded the Draker name. This is the first person all chapter who's actually above Zeke on paper. And he's famously inflexible. That's the setup, right? The rigid genius versus the rule-breaking regressor. On a scaling chart, Andre is the first genuine S-tier wall Zeke's had to deal with, and Andre doesn't know that yet. Andre tells everyone to draw their swords, then stops cold at Zeke's. Cadet, what is that sword? Because Zeke, of course, showed up with a blade nobody recognizes, ordered from that mystery craftsman Halbert last chapter. The lecture is textbook. Are you not aware you must pick a sword that suits your body? Reasonable rule. Applies to normal cadets. Does not apply to a man carrying an admin authority window in his skull. Zeke's answer, it can't be helped. I'm sure I could beat you with this sword, instructor. Internally, he just decides it's faster to show him. That's not arrogance, that's a guy who's already run the numbers and doesn't feel like arguing. And here's the tell, Andre doesn't get angry. He activates a class skill, indomitable mental defense. That's not a rookie reacting to a cocky kid, that's a professional bracing. Some part of him already registered Zeke as a real threat. I understand if you wish to learn with your body, and that's where it cuts. The Rose Knight, valedictorian, once-in-a-century genius, versus a healer who fights like an assassin and cannot be tired out. So here's my read. Andre's the strongest opponent Zeke's faced, and he'll land clean hits, but the fight won't be one on skill, it'll be one on stamina. That's why they open the chapter on infinite stamina. Andre tires, Zeke never does, and the genius loses to a passive he can't see. Bet that's the twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A blue knight throws everything he's got at this kid for 30 straight minutes and can't touch his shirt, and the kid is trying to lose. That's the whole opening. So this is a prediction episode. When a genius protagonist starts sandbagging on purpose, the story is about to force him to stop. Let's chart where chapter 10 sends him. His actual line is, I can beat Andre since I know his weakness. Cool, casual. He just knows the once-in-a-century valedictorian's weak spot the way you know where the fridge is. But there's a catch, and it's the smart part everyone skims. Bell is watching him, so winning loud the way he steamrolled the cradle last week is off the table. Attention is the one thing he can't afford right now. So the plan is elegantly petty: graze Andre's clothes, then lose on purpose. Take the L, stay invisible, go home. Simple. Andre the Rose Knight is a blue knight, real rank, real threat. Even Zeke admits it won't be easy, which from this guy is basically a scream of terror. 30 minutes in, the crowd's take, an official Draker Knight really is on another level. He hasn't grazed the kid's clothes once. They think they're watching Andre be impressive. They are watching Andre fail. The stands land on the classic cope. His stamina is ridiculous. Purebloods are just unfair. Right, it's the bloodline, definitely the bloodline. Here's what they can't see, and it's the actual mechanic of the fight. Zeke's stamina isn't monstrous, it's the same as ever. The reason he's winning the war of attrition is that Andre is suppressing his own mana to be fair, and it's quietly wrecking him. And here's the detail I'd bet the arc turns on. The Draker cultivation method keeps aura running constantly, training, eating, sleeping like breathing. So fighting weird, unorthodox swordsmanship drains a Draker faster than anyone. Zeke isn't beating Andre's skill. He's exploiting Andre's family style against him. Remember that, it comes back. So he sets up to lose, and then he stops. Losing like this doesn't quite feel right. There it is, the pride crack. He literally cannot make himself take the fall. New objective out loud, force Andre to use aura. To do that he needs an extreme situation, something scary enough that Andre reacts on instinct instead of holding back. He's not trying to win the duel, he's trying to make a genius flinch. Swift steps, critical strike. The sandbagging is officially over, and the crowd's little no way says it all. It works. Andre answers with real steel, and Zeke eats the hit. Then healing factor kicks in and he just doesn't fall. I won't collapse. Hold on to that healing, by the way. Nobody at this academy knows he can do it. That secret is a loaded gun sitting on the table. Outcome: the instructor rules Zeke doesn't need to attend class. An exemption. He came in planning to lose and walked out with a permanent hall pass. His review of himself: that was a pretty good performance if I say so myself. Andre got disciplined and I gained free time. It's a win-win. The guy grades his own acting and gives it a 5-star. But he clocks something serious. Andre's last swing was the dragon-slaying art's first verge, Sky Slice, the signature family technique, and Zeke just tanked it. His read, that was Sky Slice from a Blue Knight, and even so, with limitless stamina and healing, he can beat a Blue Knight, which sounds like a flex until the very next line pulls the rug. Because beating Blue Knights isn't enough to live freely. He wants unrestrainable power, the kind that won't let him submit to anyone. So here's prediction 1. This whole arc is Zeke grinding toward that locked draconian skill and his karma, because a Blue Knight ceiling can't touch Belle, and definitely can't touch Arthur. And right on cue, a drunk, reeking of booze, calling himself the youngest son, and Zeke's genuine reaction is, "Who the hell is this?" Which never happens. This kid always knows who everyone is. The man says Zeke's eyes are the same as that arrogant bastard Arthur's. He's calling the current Draker patriarch an arrogant bastard to his face casually. And Zeke's panicking about something else entirely. He couldn't sense this guy coming. Through a stench of alcohol you could smell from orbit. Then he drops it. He noticed Zeke took an internal wound earlier and healed it instantaneously. Told you that healing was a loaded gun. Somebody finally picked it up. The one secret nobody at the academy knows, and the first stranger through the door reads it in a glance. Zeke slams up indomitable mental defense and tells himself don't fall for it. No one would know of healing at the academy. So he plays dumb. "I don't know what you're talking about." The man just smiles. "You're going to keep up this charade." And then the mood snaps. Assassin. Zeke's instincts are screaming at him, and this drunk isn't a drunk at all. Swift steps, precise stab. Zeke goes first on one thought. If I don't kill him, he'll kill me. He tried to lose a class duel an hour ago. Now he's going for a lethal opener against a family ghost. The man's response, adapting to the situation, is impressive. He's not scared. He's grading him too. So final predictions. This youngest son is a hidden Draker, an estranged relative, or a black sheep uncle, and he's the first person who's clocked Zeke's real class instead of the failed awaken a mask. He's either the mentor that fast-tracks the draconian skill or the test that forces it out early. Either way. Belle watching quietly, and this guy calling Arthur trash means the family war is starting now. Bet the drunk becomes an ally. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The academy gardener rakes leaves by day and could flatten an entire kingdom by lunch, and this chapter he decides the weird healing kid is his new personal project. Remember last episode, that drunk who watched Zeke heal an internal wound in half a second? Yeah, turns out he's not a drunk. He's the scariest man on the grounds. And Zeke's first instinct isn't who is this guy, it's does he know about my last life, which, for a regressor, is the most terrifying question there is. Hold on to that, it comes back. First words out of the man's mouth, "You're more suited to be a mercenary than a knight." Cute, because 2 chapters ago Zeke was literally recruiting Liam Stone, the future mercenary king. This series really cannot stop with the mercenary thing. Then Zeke clocks the gap, overwhelming. He says he hasn't felt anything like this since his master, the one who taught him ether, the power only 2 people in the world can even use. That's the callback that matters. The last time Zeke felt this small, it was standing in front of one of the strongest people alive. Then in walks Andre, the Rose Knight, the once-in-a-century genius Zeke sandbagged for 30 minutes last chapter. And he takes one look at this gardener and goes pale. When your prodigy instructor flinches, you know. Reveal, this is Garden Keeper Dexter, and Andre's greeting is, and I quote, "How did you know I was here, you leech-like bastard?" Which is not how you talk to a groundskeeper. That's how you talk to someone you can't get rid of. Dexter shoos Zeke off, "Go get healed, cadet," but not before dropping the bait. "Come to the Western greenhouse sometime, I'll teach you something useful." Classic wise old mentor trope, except this old man abducts people, so spoiler. Here's the tell Zeke catches that everyone else would skip. Dexter calls the patriarch just Arthur, no title. Nobody in this family calls Arthur Draker by his first name. Nobody has the rank, except family. So Zeke does the math and lands it. This is Arthur's youngest son, Duke Draker, the Gale Knight, a black knight, one of the handful of monsters who can march on an entire kingdom alone. And here's the punchline that got me, he only ever took one disciple his whole life. Andre, so the untouchable prodigy from last chapter, just this guy's student. It reframes everything. Andre didn't just happen to teach at this academy, he's here because his master is here, hiding in a garden. That's not a background detail. That's the whole reason the Rose Knight exists on these grounds. And the rumor about how Dexter earned Black Knight status. He liked the color black, that's it, that's the story. Legendary swordsman, kingdom slayer, aesthetic-driven career choice. The rule of three, terrifying, untouchable, and did it for the vibes. Zeke's reaction is pique him. He decides Dexter's interest is worthless to him, but if he's going to be stalked by a legend, he might as well steal the man's secret technique out of it. His words, I'm going to turn that interest into tenacity. Cold, filing a Black Knight away as a training resource. Now the chapter pulls a hard cut, and this is the part people will skip, so don't. We're in a mage's classroom, and Zeke's asking about mana form and why resistance makes you take damage when you shape it. Boring, right? Watch. Because the professor's reaction is, this is the first question he's ever gotten, ever, which tells you exactly how dead this academy's teaching is, and exactly how nobody around Zeke actually thinks. And this professor is a Delphoa Magic University scholarship alum, an actual heavyweight parked in a nothing classroom. Offers Zeke open access to his research lab anytime, so Zeke's quietly stacking assets again. First the spy decker, then Riene's family privileges, now a real mage on speed dial. His logic delivered flat as ever. Mages who are good at math are flexible thinkers, and they make better colleagues than stuffy knights. That's a whole worldview in one line, and it's why he keeps declining knight families and cozying up to the weirdos. Back to the garden, and here's where Dexter shows his hand. He's grumbling that Zeke's less patient than I thought. It's only been a week. Which, sir, projection? You're the one counting the days waiting for a 12-year-old to visit. Because Zeke just didn't come, at all, and when Dexter corners him about it, Zeke gives him the same 3 words he gave Rihanna Tirun's whole family 2 chapters ago. I'm not interested. Man turns down power like it's a timeshare pitch. And here's the read Zeke nails and the reason he blew it off on purpose. He figured Dexter would never wait politely. A man this impatient would just come knock the door down. A week of restraint was already his absolute limit. Zeke wasn't being lazy. He was pressure testing a Black Knight's patience. Called it Dexter abducts him. Physically, yoinks him to the western greenhouse, told you to remember it, and when Zeke goes, did you abduct me? The Gale Knight just says, yep, I abducted you. I'm interested in you, kid. No shame, no cover story. Zeke's swift steps flares on reflex. He could bolt, but he pumps the brakes himself. Not time yet. He's not running. He's letting this play out because he wants something out of it. Remember, he came here to steal a secret move. But that's not the part that got me. It's that Dexter's still treating him like a joke, like a curiosity, a cute little healing puzzle, and you can feel Zeke's pride crack the exact same way it did against Andre last chapter. This kid does not do underestimated gracefully. And finally, the actual reason we're here. Dexter asks the question that's been eating him. How did your internal wounds heal instantaneously? There it is. The healing factor from last chapter, the thing Zeke used to tank Andre's sky slice. It didn't go unnoticed. A legend saw it, and a legend cannot let it go. Zeke's answer, make me tell you, if you're that curious, you'll have to force it out of me. To a Black Knight, the disrespect is genuinely elite. So Dexter sets the terms, and it's basically the Rihanna duel from Chapter 5 leveled up to nightmare mode. Graze even a scrap of his clothes, and Zeke gets one wish, anything. Give up on the duel, and Zeke has to spill everything he's hiding. Everything. For a regressor with a secret system window, that's the worst possible wager. And Zeke's read on the whole thing, like master, like disciple. Same maddening confidence Andre had, which tells you exactly where the Rose Knight learned to be insufferable from this guy. So here's my bet. Zeke doesn't win clean and he doesn't lose clean. He grazes the coat somehow, using a trick nobody's supposed to have, and his one wish isn't a technique. It's Dexter's silence about the healing. That's the real prize, and this whole chapter is him maneuvering a kingdom slayer into keeping his secret. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments, but the gardener just became the best character in this show. 3 hours into a fight he cannot win. This kid gets his consciousness force quit by a Black Knight, and it's still the best afternoon of his life. That's the whole chapter. Zeke doesn't win fights, he farms them. Losing is his business model. Everyone ringside is asking the exact same thing. What is this kid made of? 3 straight hours against the Duke and he's still upright, and not one person in that crowd has the answer. Here's the answer they can't see. His stamina and his wounds are being recovered limitlessly. He isn't tanking the beating, he's quietly respawning in the middle of it. Healing factor and infinite stamina both ticking away in the background. Even Zeke says it flat out, he can't beat the Duke. Cool, he was never really trying to. He's got Might of the Dragon sitting in his back pocket, the nuclear option, but it seemed dangerous, so he's never once used it. Hold onto that skill, it comes back around. His logic against a Black Knight, using it won't be a problem. Very reassuring take from the man currently losing a fight in real time. The Duke, meanwhile, is having a fantastic time. That's how you should be. He's not fighting a student here. He's coaching one mid-beatdown. Swift Steps activates and Zeke starts flickering around the field, fast enough to make it look like a real fight. The Duke's read is ice cold, though. He's just repeating the same attacks. Fast, sure, but compared to that leech bastard or the Tyrann girl, nothing. So the Gale Knight starts wondering if maybe he should use a bit of aura. A Black Knight considering aura against a first year is, genuinely, the most insulting thing that happens this chapter. Then Zeke pulls something actually clever. He blocks the Duke's line of sight. For half a second, a Black Knight can't see him. Half a second, dragon eyes activate, the Duke locks onto him instantly, and the clever plan lasts exactly as long as it takes to say dragon eyes. And then the secret move, a simple dash, one step, kicks up a gust strong enough to end the whole exchange. This, right here, is why they call him the Gale Knight. Call this a draw, kid. It is not a draw. We both know it is not a draw, but sure, big guy, draw. The system fully agrees. Excessive skill use, fatigue past the limit, consciousness getting force shut down. It's parting words on the way out, like master, like disciple. Even the menu is roasting him. He wakes up in his own room. The Duke beat him unconscious and then carried him home and tucked him in. Terrifying man, weirdly considerate. Now the reflection, and this is where the whole thing pays off. His plan was to repeat one attack 100 times to drop the Duke's guard, then at the decisive moment faint with Might of the Dragon plus dragon eyes. It wasn't enough. But look at what he actually walked out with, a front row seat to that nonsensical high-speed movement art. The exact technique that lets a weak stamina fighter punch way above his class. So yeah, he lost the chance to learn it outright. His verdict, still worthwhile. Of course it was. He didn't come to win, he came to shop. And remember Might of the Dragon, the skill he was too scared to use. Its pressure makes even a Black Knight hesitate. Told you it mattered. Most small fries just submit the second they feel it. Then the receipts start printing. Unopened message. Swift Steps just got upgraded from rank D to rank C. Now it's high-speed movement. The reason, his soul developed from demonstrating strong will. Translation. He got beaten so thoroughly the game handed him a loyalty bonus for it. And it cracks open a whole store, mini-map, inventory, an elementary quest book, all locked behind karma. He's sitting on 40 points and a shopping list. He opens inventory first, drops in a claymore, and it just vanishes, takes up 2 of 28 slots based on its weight and size, casually pocketing swords into the void now. His own reaction says it best. It's like a subspace storage artifact, but better, and those things are expensive and impossible to fit anything into. He just got the upgraded version for free, by losing a fight. The catchy clocks immediately. This is only a low-rank administrator function. Better ones unlock at higher ranks, and if karma gets pricey later, he can't blow it recklessly now, so he rewrites his plans on the spot. Then a servant walks in with a message, from, and I want to be precise here, Garden Keeper Dexter. Cut back to let's call this a draw, kid, and it finally lands. A draw doesn't mean he lost. It means the door's still open. The chance to steal that technique isn't gone. The message itself, the Duke tracked down the blacksmith Zeke, asked for Halbert. Zeke actually lights up, wins the appointment. First real excitement he's shown all chapter. And here's where the profit machine finally hits a wall. The blacksmith refused. The reason, I don't make weapons anymore. My bet, that one word anymore is a whole backstory, and getting this guy back to the forge becomes Zeke's next project. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The greatest blacksmith on the continent takes one look at our guy, calls him a kid, and tells him to get out. By the end of this chapter, that same man is on his knees swearing to serve him for the rest of his life for free. No fight, no aura. Zeke wins this one with his eyes. So we open on a workshop with a name way too big for it, the Sword of Radiance, Graham. A legendary blade slapped on the door of what is, functionally, a shed. Grand title, humble building, classic power scaling misdirection. And Graham itself is no joke. It was the maker's masterpiece forged as payment for someone saving his life, and it does something absurd on the scaling chart. It lets its wielder swap ether out for aura. That's not a sharp sword, that's a mechanic, that's a passive skill welded into steel. The man who made it, Galleon Halbert, blacksmith of the soul. The gimmick is he reads the soul of the user before forging their weapon. So he's not a craftsman, he's an appraiser with a hammer. Keep that word appraiser, hold on to it, it matters in about 2 minutes. Except right now the soul reader is a wreck, drunk, bitter, snarling at a child to leave his shed. This is the guy Halbert mentioned back when he flatly refused to make weapons anymore. Now we see why something broke him, but that's not the part that got me. The part that got me is Zeke doesn't flinch. Gets thrown out, waits, comes back, and Galleon sobers up enough to actually apologize and to ask the real question that's been eating him. Why did this kid reject his work in the first place? So Zeke sets the terms with one line. I wish to see some of your failures, not the masterpieces, the rejects, the pile every artist buries. On a scaling read, that's a flex. He's not here to admire the best work. He's here to prove he can read the worst. The assistant warns him, careful, even the failures are still razor sharp. Which, sure, but Zeke isn't planning to cut himself on them. He's planning to grade them. And here's the power beat, draconian skill, dragon eyes activated. This is the tier no one else in the room can touch. Everyone here forges or fights. Zeke just perceives. Appraisal as a combat stat, told you that word mattered. First verdict out of the eyes, these aren't failures at all. They're the same quality as the swords Galleon forged when he was crowned the best on the continent. So the greatest smith alive has been throwing away work that would headline anyone else's career. That's the real tragedy hiding in this shed. Then Zeke goes full analyst. He tells Galleon exactly what he did, mixed several metals to make a lighter, finer material. Correct, but the durability is weak because the impurities weren't burned out during heat treatment. He didn't guess the flaw, he reverse engineered the entire process. Galleon's face says everything. This is a man who spent a lifetime with metal, and a teenager just diagnosed his secret smelting method and its exact cause in one glance. That's the moment his brain flips from get out, kid to wait, who are you? And hold that thought because Galleon's about to show him something he hid for years. The hidden thing, a blueprint. The chapter flat out tells us this is a secret Galleon only revealed years later in the original timeline, a magic brazier. A forge where the temperature can be tuned freely through magic. For a smith whose whole problem is heat treatment, that's the end-game item. With that brazier, his lighter metal smelting method works perfectly, no more weak durability. It fixes the exact flaw Zeke just called out. Beautiful. There's just one problem, and it's a big one. The core of it, the mana energy law blueprint, has to be commissioned from the magic tower, and the magic tower's fee is 10,000 gold. Let me put that on the scale for you. A normal 4-person family lives on 10 gold a month. 10,000 gold is 1,000 times that. It would take a regular person 10 years just to gather it. The price isn't expensive, it's a wall. So Galleon makes his pitch, and it's genuinely a huge offer. Build me that brazier, and I'll forge any commission you want, free, no conditions, for the rest of my life. A continent-tier blacksmith on retainer forever. That's an S-rank asset for the price of one favor. Zeke does the math out loud, and this is the smart part. 10,000 gold in family support. Only a guardian knight pulls that, and he's just a pure blood, no chance. If this were a money problem, he'd be stuck, but here's where he flips it. It's not a money problem, it's a mana energy law problem. And Zeke happens to know a guy, remember the Delpho Alum mage professor from a couple chapters back who gave him open lab access. His whole major was the design of mana energy laws. Zeke didn't need gold, he needed a contact he already had. So he accepts casually. I'll ask a favor from a mage, I'll let you know. And Galleon absolutely loses it. Thank you, sir. This Galleon will serve you as his savior for the rest of his life. Zeke's basically going, okay, get off me. The composure never cracks for him. It cracks for everyone around him. Tally it up on the power sheet. Zeke walked in with no weapon, no gold, and a locked karma count, and walked out having recruited the best blacksmith alive plus a tower-level mage's expertise. 0 combat, pure appraisal and connections. That's a whole different tier of strong. And just when it's cozy, the chapter yanks us across town to remind us who the villains are. Leon Conrad, the cousin, is back, and he is in a mood. A maid accidentally touches him while apologizing, terrified, saying it's all her fault. Leon's response is pure petty noble venom. He rewards her by making her clean the ground she dirtied. Great guy, really rooting for his character growth. But the actual tell is what's rotting his brain he lost to Zeke. To the regressive bastard, the inferior vermin. and he can't accept it, so he's rewritten the loss. It was a surprise attack, it was luck, it couldn't be helped. Textbook cope from a guy sliding down the rankings. Here's the power scaling read on Leon though. When you're actually strong, a loss teaches you something. When you're insecure, a loss just makes you meaner. Leon's not training harder, he's blaming, threatening, and lashing down. That's a man whose ceiling is already showing. And he ends it with a threat. You already found a replacement for me. I'll give you all 3, so you'd better want your heads on the ground. Menacing line, but it's the sound of someone who just got outclassed and is swinging at whoever's closest. So here's my call. This quiet chapter is actually one of Zeke's biggest power moves all series. He built a supply line. A legendary smith, a working weapon in Graham, and a mage on speed dial, all locked in without lifting a blade. Bet the brazier deal pays off as his real gear spike, and Leon's rage becomes the fuel for the next time these two clash. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A guy pulls a sword on Zeke to look scary, and 30 seconds later he's face down in the dirt, begging, missing an ear. That's Leon Conrad's whole revenge arc. This is a prediction episode, so let's treat this chapter like a map, because half of it is Zeke quietly loading the next 50 chapters. So Leon rolls up doing the classic bully monologue. Your arrogance has gone through the roof since your pureblood awakening. Are you sure you really awakened? Buddy, you watched it happen. This is the villain equivalent of asking if the sun is real. And before he finishes the sentence, Zeke just lets a little pressure off. Not a skill, not aura, just vibes, and Leon's body reads it as a death sentence. Look at him, sweating, shaking, genuinely scared. This is the same Leon who spent all of last chapter stewing about losing to Zeke, cooking up his big comeback. That's the comeback, sweating. His crew screams attack him, and here's my first prediction, free of charge. Leon Conrad is not the final boss. He's not even a mid-boss. He's the tutorial that keeps respawning so Zeke can flex. Zeke's answer is calm and terrifying. Don't blame me for this, got it. Which is Manhwa for, I warned you and you're still going to attack, so this is legally your fault. Then Leon does the dumbest possible thing. He draws his sword. Inside the training arena. Hold on to that, because Zeke does not let that slide, and it becomes the whole point. Because Zeke immediately invokes the rules. Drawing your blade outside the holy arena means it's a death match now. Both sides accept all responsibility. Ends when one of us faces death. He recites it like a lawyer who's about to win. And here's the read most recaps skip. Zeke wanted this. Leon thought he was intimidating someone. He was signing a waiver. So of course Leon flips instantly. Let me live, let me live. The murderous intent evaporates the second consequences show up. Textbook coward physics. Zeke goes, I'm sorry, Leon Conrad, and for half a panel you think he's showing mercy. He is not. He takes the ear. And the line, if your ear is reattached when we meet again, what I take next won't be your ear. That's not a threat, that's a subscription plan. My prediction, Leon shows up later, ear intact, and immediately regrets it. Then the mood flips. Someone asks Zeke, why did you help me? So somewhere in that fight, Zeke covered for bystander, and his answer is the most Zeke thing possible. Don't worry about it, I wasn't helping you, I was helping myself. Then, did Galleon rub off on me? Almost sad something embarrassing left my lips. Our cold protagonist is getting emotionally compromised by his own blacksmith. Prediction on this random saved kid, they're not random. Manhwa doesn't spend a panel on a face for nothing. Bet money that's a future retainer, ally, or the person who owes Zeke exactly one favor at the worst possible moment. Now the chapter quietly pivots to the actual plot, Galleon's research lab. If you skipped last chapter, Zeke needs a magic brazier with tunable temperature to fix Galleon's forging flaw, and the core is the problem. The professor says it's possible, but listen first. The core is the heart of the machine. The circuit has brutal restrictions, tiny, but needs enormous power and instant output adjustment. Translation, everything Zeke needs is the hardest thing to build. Redoing the core design from scratch, at least a decade. No, 15 years. Zeke's internal reaction is basically, I do not have 15 years, I have a grudge and a schedule. So option 2, skip designing the core, use an alternate material, and the professor drops it, an ancient artifact that can't be made with modern tech, naturally. Because in this genre the shortcut is always a relic nobody's seen in 1,000 years. Meanwhile Zeke's inner monologue reveals the real pressure. I might get kicked out if anyone learns I can't use aura. 15 years is too long. This is a man on a countdown, hiding a secret, needing a legendary part, peak setup. And he name drops the goal, Graham, the Sword of Radiance. 3,000 gold, which he calls too high, this from the guy who dodged a 10,000 gold magic tower commission last chapter. Zeke's whole personality is finding the discount. Then the honest part, he became an aura user during the blessing rite, but that was ether plus his healing factor faking it. He still can't actually use aura, only spirit of the soul, taught by the Duke, and that just reinforces his body. This is the quiet bombshell. The whole clan thinks he awakened aura. He didn't. He's running the most elaborate bluff in the academy, and ether is harder to control than aura, so he can't even brute force it. That's the tension driving this arc. Which brings us to the actual bottleneck. He needs a high compression mana stone. The professor confirms it. Even among Golden Age relics, this would be near impossible to create, so it's rare, priceless, and basically extinct. And Zeke's response after leaving the designs with the professor is one line. I'll bring one, a high compression mana stone. I mean, casual, like it's a grocery run. So here's the big prediction, and I'm confident on this one. Remember his karma points and that elementary quest book he unlocked from the Duke fight. A near impossible relic doesn't drop at a shop, it drops in a dungeon. Zeke's about to go get his hands dirty for the first time. And this is where karma finally makes sense. Karma drops from high-tier dungeon monsters. Remember that mystery from chapter 7? He's had it without fighting. My bet, this stone hunt is where the system starts paying that debt and the might of the dragon finally comes off the shelf. So chapter 14, Leon loses an ear, Zeke loses his composure for one soft second, and the plot quietly hands him a fetch quest for a legendary rock. My call next arc is his first real dungeon, and that's where the fake aura user finally shows what he's actually made of. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. He walks into a dusty library to grab one artifact, and walks out having quietly farmed a Golden Age dungeon nobody on the entire continent is supposed to find for another 10 years. Remember every regressor story where the hero grinds a secret spot before the world catches up. This is that. He's just doing it with a snooze button. So the setup, this library's barely used, but they maintain it because supposedly Terrican himself built it. And the chapter straight up tells us 10 years from now, expansions dig out a records room, Golden Age relics get discovered, the great families swarm the excavation. Standard ancient ruins arc timeline. Zeke just looked at that timeline and went, nah, I'll take the early access. Dragon eyes on, same draconian skill he used back at the blacksmiths to read Galleon's discarded failures appraise mode. Except a library this size, even he admits he could look all day and find nothing. Hold on to that, by the way, search a huge space for one hidden thing. It matters in about 30 seconds. And there it is, he finds a hollow spot, taps it, that classic this wall sounds different beat every dungeon episode has. The eyes did the work. Genre says you spend 3 chapters solving a puzzle door. Zeke solved it by knocking. Quick mechanics note that's easy to skip. He was using ether to shape a tool, the same trick from last chapter where he faked aura with ether and healing factor. But ether burns fast, and soul of the spirit, the technique the Duke taught him, costs way too much for a door, so he passes. Man's budgeting his mana like it's rent. Down into the ruins, and the room helpfully editorializes, should be at least a decade before anyone finds this. Then immediately wait, could someone have found it before that? You planted the flag and jinxed it in the same panel. Payoff to what I told you to hold on to. Yeah, he found it early, called it. Skeletons, but look closer, they're holding shovels and pickaxes. These aren't ancient guardians, they're dead excavators, which is a nasty little tell. Somebody already dug here and didn't leave. The trope is undead protect the treasure. The truth is undead are the last guys who tried to take it. Bit grim. Critical strike lights up, and this should be easy, famous last words in any other show. Not here. 2 skeletons, 2 swings, done, and the system dings, 2 karma earned. Then a third goes down for 1 more point. And here's the catch, a plain recap blows right past. Go back to chapter 7, Zeke had 100 karma he swore he never earned because karma only drops from high-tier dungeon monsters he'd never fought. He's been sitting on that mystery for 8 chapters. This is the panel where the currency finally makes sense. Kill monsters, get points. The dungeon he's not supposed to be in was the answer the whole time. So naturally the cold, unbothered regressor, the guy who stares down Black Knights without blinking, turns into I'll be right there my lovely points the second there's XP on the table. Every stoic MC has one weakness, and for this man, it's loot notifications. He pulls up the menu to see what these points unlock. Inventory's already at 25 slots. Minimap's locked for 20. Beginner Quest Book 45, and the big ones Might of the Dragon sitting there at beginner, plus Devour and Draconian Skill Level 2, 50 points each. That's the same shopping list from Chapter 12, still mostly grayed out. He can only afford one thing right now, so minimap, practical over powerful, and immediately it flexes, converts from a flat 2D layout to a full 3D model of the ruins. This is what I'm talking about. Rare W for reading the item description before buying. Then the map offers directions to a marked location, Grave of the Dragonslayer storage room. Note the name of the whole series is basically written on the map, and it hands him the quickest route. Genre convention, hero gets lost, wanders, drama. Zeke got in-game GPS. He reaches the door and it's warded, real ward 2. The text drops that the Magic Tower and the Archmage of Nirvana were involved in the security spell. That's not Academy tier, that's someone very important not wanting this opened. His gloves, the upgraded Peardecker gifted him back in Chapter 8, are the only reason he still has a hand. Told you that servant spy earns his keep. He can't crack it himself, so he does the thing nobody in these stories ever thinks to try, he just asks. System, can't you open it for me? And the reply lands like a gut punch. Administrator's request received, connecting to the security device. This is the beat. For 15 chapters, the system's been a silent vending machine spitting notifications. Now it's answering him. Do you have any more requests? Administrator Zeke Draker. Call back to Chapter 7, where his admin authority let him read a broken statue nobody else could. That authority was never cosmetic. He's got a customer service line to the game itself. So he asks the only question that matters, who forced him to regress, and the system, cool as ever, I cannot answer the following question. He tries again, I cannot answer the following question. The one door the gloves can't open is the one in his own backstory. Brutal. Not getting answers to any important questions, he grumbles and just tells it to open the door, which, of course, it does instantly. It'll unlock a Nirvana-grade ward without blinking but clam up about his own murder. The system has priorities, and they are not his. And behind it, treasure chests, not one, hundreds. The text spells it out, a room stuffed with Golden Age relics where finding a single one anywhere else would count as a near miracle. Zeke's reaction to a near miracle times 100. You're telling me there's hundreds of these things, understated as always. He starts window shopping a legendary vault like a Sunday flea market, grabs something and immediately goes, oh, I can give this to Fanon. Man found the treasure of the century, and his first instinct was souvenir shopping for a friend. That's the crack in the deadpan mask I keep telling you about. Reality check, even with the vault open, his bag's full. He spends a point to add 4 inventory slots, and it's still not enough, so he shrugs and decides he'll just come back here regularly until graduation. He didn't find a dungeon, he found a subscription, free relics, restocking every week. Enough for today. He's ready to walk out rich, quiet, undetected, the perfect heist. Which is exactly when every genre-savvy viewer feels it coming, because a clean exit is never a clean exit. And there it is, that ominous feeling. He stops, something's here. The dead miners weren't the only tenants. This is the misdirect landing. I said perfect heist, the chapter said not so fast. The empty ruins nobody's supposed to find. Somebody or something is very much home. The chapter cuts to something moving in the dark, and the last thing we get is a fragment. The fastest what? Fastest guardian, fastest thing that'll gut a treasure thief, take your pick. Classic end on the boss, reveal hook, and it works every time. Here's my read, that guardian ties straight back to the karma mystery. If killing monsters is the payout, the boss of a Dragonslayer's grave is the jackpot, and probably where those original 100 points really came from in a life he doesn't remember. But the thing waiting in the dark is the piece that finally cracks his regression wide open. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments and stick around, because next chapter he stops shopping and starts fighting. This kid walks into a room full of coffins to go window shopping and walks out with a dragon's heart beating inside his chest. Here's my whole read on Chapter 16. Zeke's real cheat isn't the healing, it isn't the infinite stamina, it's that he physically cannot leave a shiny thing alone. Watch. The system pings him administrator location, home of the Dragonslayer, and Zeke, ever the professional, goes, a room full of coffins, wasn't in the newsletter. The man is treating an ancient death vault like a Yelp listing with suspiciously bad reviews. That minimap he grinded karma for last chapter, hold onto that, it matters, tells him there's no path connecting this place to anything. Nothing leads here. For a normal person, that's the universe politely saying, do not enter. For Zeke, no path translates directly to hidden area never discovered. His eyes basically turn into little slot machines. Can't ignore this place then, buddy, nobody asked you to. And the system straight up can't finish the sentence. You have found question mark, Dragon Slayer. Even the game engine is standing there like, bro, I don't have a label for what you're doing right now. Inside, Dragon Slayer exclusive equipment, not the golden age armor he's already seen, something older, rarer, off the map. And he clocks the difference instantly, because that dragon eyes appraisal from the blacksmith arc never actually turns off. He notices a little hole in it, a hole or something, and you already know exactly where this is heading because we established the thesis in the first 10 seconds. This man cannot let an opportunity pass. Turns out that hole is a mana battery slot. He powers it, the equipment activates, and for one glorious second, it genuinely looks like he's about to boot up ancient god-tier armor. And then, overload caused by equipment failure. We estimate an explosion will occur in a few moments. We suggest you take cover. It explodes, and the system quietly adds, we apologize. Nothing screams legendary treasure quite like a voided warranty and a heartfelt customer service apology. But here's the catch that actually matters. The energy source for these ancient armors, a high compression mana stone, the exact golden age relic he came all the way down here hunting for Galleon's tunable magic brazier. He didn't blow up loot, he confirmed the loot exists. He's genuinely floored. What kind of features would need an energy source that huge? And then, peak Zeke, I'll fanboy about it later. The man puts his own curiosity on hold. Priorities. Every other room in this place is empty. This is the last one, and in the middle of a massive chamber sits exactly one thing, a single glass cube, just floating there, ominously, which in this genre is never, ever fine. He reads an inscription, Draker, and mutters, this guy was crazy. Coming from the man who detonated himself on purpose 4 rooms ago, honestly, that's a diagnosis I fully trust. And then the system drops the bomb. Heart of the cursed light dragon Bahamut has been found. A dragon's actual heart, sitting in a box, in a room the world wasn't supposed to find for another decade. And it all clicks. Most people think Tarakan the Dragon Slayer just killed the thing. Nope, he sealed its heart down here. That ominous feeling Zeke got the second he entered the storage room last chapter. That was a cursed god glaring at him through glass the whole time. The heart does not appreciate visitors. It slams him with a curse, and to keep him standing the system auto-fires a class skill, Indomitable Mental Defense. Recognize that one, that's Andre's skill. The Rose Knight's signature from the exam. And the curse starts whispering the classic Evil Dragon starter pack, kill them all. Why would? It's trying to hollow him out and drive him like a weapon. Then it upgrades to a formal exam. Urgent quest, Tarakan Draker's test, defeat the strong curse from Bahamut's heart. The ancestor left a final pop quiz behind and Zeke walked into it face first. Here's the actually scary part. Indomitable mental defense fails. Error, activation failed. The genius steer mental skill that carried Andre just folds against a real dragon's curse. That's how far above the academy this thing is. So Zeke does it raw. The curse tries the oldest trick in the book, you'll give me freedom. And Zeke, mid-mental warfare with an actual god, just goes, freedom, you dumbass, completely deadpan, to Bahamut, mid-curse. And that's the whole fight. You have won against the light dragon's curse. He didn't outpower it, he outstubborned it with pure contempt. Reward, ownership over Tarakan's dying gift. His reaction, damn, that could have been worse. Understatement of the entire regression. Then healing factor and infinite stamina kick in together, and the system asks the real question, absorb the heart of the cursed light dragon, Bahamut. He absorbs it, and immediately his body is holding an obscene amount of mana, an entire dragon's heart worth. What's happening now? Man, you volunteered for this, but sure, nothing you're built to contain. I have to do something, so he floods it with ether, the exact same ether trick he used to fake having aura back at the blessing rite. The lie that could still get him expelled is now the only thing containing a dragon god. That's the catch nobody's clocking. The heart physically vanishes, fully absorbed. Looks like that mana was really from Bahamut. He didn't loot the dragon, he became the vault. And he wonders if this whole thing was rigged the moment Tarakan sealed Bahamut, like the ancestor was quietly counting on someone exactly like him to show up one day. You have absorbed the heart of the cursed light dragon, Bahamut. And the button that ends the chapter, like my ancestor was feeling generous, would you like to open Tarakan's other dying gift? There's more, called the loot brain thing in beat 1. He came for 1 mana stone and left with a dragon in his chest. My bet, That second gift is the draconian unlock that finally lets him fire Might of the Dragon. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. This kid opens one status window, finds out his class is literally immortal, and just shrugs. By the end of this chapter, he clears a purple knight tier in a warm-up and walks out holding a dragon's fang. So let's do a proper power read on the sheet. We pick up mid-unwrap, the system formally confirming the administrator's request and cracking open Terrakin Draker's second dying gift. Last chapter he ate the cursed light dragon's heart. This chapter is the itemized receipt. And what a receipt: class, immortal, unique, authority, dragon control, constitution, divine body, title, heriter of Terrakin Draker. This is the kind of screen the final boss usually gets, except it's page 6 and the guy reading it looks mildly inconvenienced. Let's talk dragon control. It means summon dragonkind and they follow your orders. Most protagonists earn that with a 100-chapter arc. He got it by eating one, off menu. Now the passive stack, because this is where the scaling actually lives. Healing factor, infinite stamina, indomitable mental defense, battle sense, all class skills, all always on. That's regeneration, an endless gas tank, and a mind you can't break, running in the background of every fight. The active skills are almost a formality. But divine body is the sneaky one. Combat learning rate up, ether transfer rate up. Boring wording, quietly broken effect. Hold onto that line, it cashes out in about 10 minutes of screen time. His actual reaction to all of this cosmic paperwork: descriptions aren't really helping. God-tier body, authority over dragons, and he's annoyed the tooltips are vague. Here's the power read catch everyone skips. He's stacked on paper and broken practice. Karma's sitting at 10. Devour is locked behind 50 points. Draconian level 2 locked 50 more. Incantation locked until he gains experience. The sheet is a supercar with no gas in it. And that locked incantation description reads your words are filled with power, which is an absurdly ominous thing to leave grayed out. File it under this ends someone later. Then there's a second Terrakin window. He opens it and the system goes, to unlock Terrakin's secure library, I need an information update. Translation, go somewhere. It offers to mark the spot on his minimap. The marker drops on Valhalla, a religious knight training institution that outsiders flat out cannot enter. Members only, no exceptions. And here's the tell, even Zeke admits he'd have trouble getting in. The guy who fights dukes for fun. When he says a door's hard to open, that's a flashing sign. Keep Valhalla in your back pocket, that's a whole next arc waiting. New plan, family, his words, dripping with intent aimed at the Drakers. Then the beginner questbook pings on and starts talking like a very polite mobile game. Tutorial first, then a quest, then a reward. Adventurer's guild energy, except the guild is a dead ancestor. The space rewrites around him, not a teleport this time. He notes the whole area changed. Then the quest lands, clear the monsters inside 60 minutes using 2 or more different skills. Reward, points, plus a system store unlock. Orcs spawn right on cue. He clocks it instantly. The tutorial's manufacturing fake fights so he learns to lean on the system. And his one note is peak Zeke. Would have been nice to have this earlier. But he just cleared a real golden age dungeon the hard way. Swift steps on, continuous slash on. 2 skills, box checked, requirement satisfied. Then the tell, the claymore feels light as a feather. That's divine body cashing in, told you the learning rate buff mattered. And the system spells out the tier for us. This is enough to easily defeat a purple knight. Context for the ranking: a purple knight is elite, hardened career soldier, strong. He's clearing that tier in a warm-up, in a body he's had for 1 day, still visibly sandbagging. Quest complete, and he genuinely can't tell if that fight was an illusion. It felt that real. Critical bonus, time bonus, 40 points, and the shop finally unlocks. And the shop is unhinged, giant's flesh. Breath of a flame giant, a wall of rare relics that cost absolute fortunes. The catch is brutal, though he can only sell ancient relics into it. His elven dagger, 4 points, that same dagger's worth 100 gold at auction. The all-powerful system store has the worst exchange rate on the continent. So he shrugs, files it away, calls it a long day, and goes to bed. Man is walking around housing a dragon god and just wants a solid night's sleep. Cut to the professor's research center, and this is the payoff of the mana stone plot he's been running since the blacksmith arc. Turns out every high compression mana stone on the continent gets registered in ancient texts, traceable to exactly where and when it was found and who owns it, which, for a guy holding one, is a nightmare. Except his stone isn't in the registry at all. because his words, he's the first person to ever find it. The professor's clearly suspicious, and instead of sweating it, Zeke respects it. He'd rather work with someone who questions him than a yes man who nods. Then it actually happens. The professor fires up the device and it's done. A working magic brazier. The tunable forge Galleon's been dreaming about since chapter 13, the one thing standing between him and fixing his forging flaw. Full setup, full payoff. Galleon's overwhelmed, never thought he'd see a completed brazier in his lifetime. And now Zeke quietly calls in the favor he's been sitting on this whole time. He drops Bahamut's sharpest fang on the table, an actual dragon's fang pulled straight from Tarakan's second dying gift. Galleon has never seen one in this condition and is immediately, visibly shaking. Galleon swears he'll forge the blade even if it costs him his life. Zeke, deadpan, please don't do that, it's a bit much for me. The greatest smith on the continent is ready to die for the project, and Zeke's mildly embarrassed by the enthusiasm. And the tease to close it out. Galleon's already dreaming up the blade, the name Fafnir gets floated, and the final line calls it the fastest. So here's my read, a fang from a light dragon, forged into the fastest sword ever made for a guy who already outspeeds dukes and eats high-speed movement for breakfast. That's a light-speed weapon, and it's pointed straight at the family that ended his last life. Bet that's the real payoff coming. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A retired legend puts a blade to this kid's throat, gives him 5 seconds to live, and by the last page calls him apprentice. Chapter 18, and I'm calling it now. This is the episode where the whole arc quietly changes shape. So a week's gone by since the duel with the Duke. Dexter told Zeke to come find him if he ever wanted a rematch. Zeke's response to that generous invitation, nothing, full radio silence, he just didn't go. And Zeke, being Zeke, figures something should happen sooner or later. That's it, that's the plan. Ignore the terrifying old man and wait for consequences to arrive on their own schedule. Dexter asks if he's here for the rematch. Zeke says no, one word, to a man who slays kingdoms for a living. The confidence on this kid is a medical condition. And then it stops being funny because Zeke clocks it instantly. This man really wants to kill him. That's not a training face, that's a we're settling this face. Dexter lays it out, I told you to come find me, you didn't. Zeke starts to explain he had no intentions of and gets cut off cold, because that was never the invitation. The actual ask was tell me the truth, that's what this whole ambush is about. Remember way back, Zeke's whole existence is one big lie held together with ether and a healing trick. Keep that in your back pocket, it's the entire chapter. Then he swings, and Zeke does the math midair. If that lands at this height, he dies before his healing factor can even kick in. The one passive that's kept him alive all series, suddenly not fast enough. Zeke realizes the truth, the man was just playing with him, all that power holding back the whole time. Dexter gives him 5 seconds and one instruction, tell me the truth this time, no more dodging. So Zeke plays his card, that right Dexter. Using the name, the identity, the whole thing, he flips the interrogation. You wanted truth, here's one, I know exactly who you are. And Dexter just folds into a grin. Yeah, you're right, kid. I was once a Black Knight of Draker. Once. That word's doing a lot of heavy lifting, and we'll get there. Then the whiplash, this terrifying man drops into a full formal apology. Bows, for disrespecting a member of the family and an honorable Black Knight, from a guy who was about to bisect him 10 seconds ago. Zeke's reaction is my reaction. Were you planning this? And here's the tell, Dexter says he wasn't. This wasn't a test he set up. He genuinely got caught off guard, which almost never happens to a man at this level. Now the line I've been sitting on, I was once a Black Knight, but no longer. Zeke's whole worldview cracks. You can rise in ranks, sure, but he never knew you could drop. That's new information for a regressor who's supposed to know everything. Prediction time, because that's the whole vibe today. Once a Black Knight isn't a throwaway. There's a backstory buried in that word. Something happened to Dexter that cost him the rank. Bet it ties into why the greatest blacksmith Galleon won't make weapons anymore either. 2 retired legends, same era, not a coincidence. Zeke decides fair's fair. Dexter gave a truth, so he gives one back. You already knew about my identity. And Dexter's read on him is just, I believe your boldness. 2 con artists finally being honest, sort of. Then it drops, the apprentice's vow, an old, mostly dead custom. And Zeke's internal monologue is pure gremlin, better accept before he changes his mind. Sir, he's offering to make you the disciple of a kingdom slayer. Some enthusiasm, maybe. And here's why it's a big deal. In his entire life, Dexter took exactly one lifelong disciple, Andre, the genius of the century, the Rose Knight, and even he had to beg for years. Zeke's getting the same offer after one duel and a week of ghosting. So Zeke asks himself the smart question, why me so easily? His guess is he's got potential surpassing even Andre. He asks straight up. Dexter throws it back, why do you think I did, apprentice? Zeke's answer, isn't it because I'm a genius of the family? And Dexter just stares, that confidence of yours is something else. The rule of three, except every one of these is the same joke, this kid cannot be humbled. Then the humble check, if it was talent, I'd have picked the Tirun girl. There's Riene, the Gate Knight prodigy, casually ranked above Zeke on pure ability. Noted, she's not gone from this story, she's being set up. The real reason I liked your tenacity, because talent alone doesn't reach red or black, the prodigies who never struggled, they crumble the second real adversity shows up. Zeke, who's been faking, clawing, and dying his whole life, he's all adversity. He even spells it out, geniuses projected to hit Red Knight stall out at blue, because they never learned to fail. Which is a low-key thesis for the entire regression genre, and I respect the honesty. Chit-chat over, my apprentice, time for your first lesson, and the lesson location is a gym hidden under the greenhouse that Zeke never knew existed. Of course, the gardener has a secret dungeon gym. Everyone in this series has a basement. The first lesson is running, 3 straight hours. Zeke's just going what is he planning, while doing laps like a man who forgot he has infinite stamina. Which, hilariously, is exactly the passive that's about to blow his cover. Finally, I don't have to run anymore, and Dexter goes still. Let me ask you one thing, you feel the trap close, this was never cardio, this was a test with a heartbeat. He reaches for Zeke's pulse, you got a problem with me checking, and yeah, Zeke does because his whole lie lives in that wrist, told you to keep the no aura thing in your pocket, here's the payoff, right on schedule. And Dexter lays out the receipts, the healing room, the greenhouse duel, 500 laps just now, every single time, not one drop of aura off this kid, and he even stopped me from checking his pulse. The old man had a case file open this whole time. Then the line that ends the chapter, are you unable to use aura? The one secret that gets Zeke expelled, a kingdom slayer just said it out loud. My prediction, Zeke doesn't deny it, he recruits him. He turns the man who caught the lie into the person who protects it, and once a Black Knight becomes his cover story. Bet that's the twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A knight catches him with no pulse, no aura, nothing, the exact secret that should get a Draker thrown out of the family. 10 minutes later, that same knight is handing him a free legendary technique. This whole chapter is basically a callback machine, so keep everything from the last few arcs in your back pocket. First rewind, that never-before-seen golden light at his awakening that everyone lost their minds over. That was the fake. He forged the blessing right with ether way back, and now the bronze statue and all that hype are the exact breadcrumbs leading someone straight to the lie. So here's Dexter, his brand new master, taking his pulse and going, why aren't you emitting anything? If you saw last chapter, you know he built this trap under the greenhouse, 3 hours of running just to get a hand on Zeke's wrist. Sneaky old man. And his internal read is beautiful. This isn't suspicion, it's simple curiosity. A Draker who literally cannot use aura is standing right there, and the man's dominant emotion is that he's just nosy. Great priorities from a Black Knight. Zeke's move is pure regressor, lucky it's Dexter I'm facing. Once I get my hands on Graham, I won't need to lie anymore. Small callback, last life, he was the first failed awakener in the entire family. Same secret, completely different guy carrying it now. Then he pulls the oldest trick in the Manhwa book, the fake cry. I'm sorry, if it gets out that a Draker can't use aura, I'll be chased out, I'm scared. Genre says the hidden power MC panics for real here. This one's just acting, full crocodile tears. Dexter buys it, he held malice unbefitting his age, but I guess he's still a child. Meanwhile, he's stuck on the actual puzzle. How do you awaken successfully and give off 0 aura? The man cannot make the math work. And here's the detail everyone glosses over. He says you can't even confirm it by pulse, because the blessing right is that absolute for a Draker. The family's own sacred legend is the thing covering for Zeke's lie. The cover-up is built into the bloodline. So Dexter lands on a conclusion, you're an irregular, and this is the good part. He thinks anomaly, glitch, 1 in a million. We know the truth, this kid is carrying a unique immortal class ripped off a dead dragon lord. He's not an irregular, he's a rounding error. Quick lore drop, an irregular is someone with anomalous abilities. using aura and mana together or casually peering into the future. They're treated badly, so keep it quiet, and hold that seeing the future one for a second, because a regressor kind of already does that. His actual evidence is clean detective work. Zeke's wounds healed almost instantly. That costs insane energy, so that energy must be aura getting burned for stamina and regen so fast there's nothing left to sense. Confident, reasonable, completely wrong. It's the ether end healing factor combo from way back doing all the lying for him. Zeke still milking the sad boy act, so I'll never use aura. Guess I can't meet your expectations, master. And Dexter just goes ha ha ha, don't you worry about that. Enter the payoff, a special art, a technique a top knight personally builds that needs no aura at all. His is Gale Art's pure trained body, and if that word rings a bell, it should. This is the exact wind-based movement Zeke spent 3 hours studying in that so-called draw a few chapters back. He does one demo, one fluid, fast, gone before you can process it. Then the trap question, you good if I don't show you again, fully expecting a no. Zeke, cool as ever, yeah, give it a go. Dexter clocks the tone immediately. That's the confidence of a black rank at least. And this is my favorite beat. Mimicking the movement, Zeke suddenly reads it. Every step was placed like he's sparring an invisible opponent. This one dodges, this one closes distance. Each step has a purpose. Same up-close study trick from the old Gale Knight fight, except now he's living inside the technique. Dexter's face is priceless. He wasn't ungifted a week ago, but he wasn't this good. What happened in 1 week? The gap between their strides is, and I quote, heaven and earth. And he just settles on it. This kid is perfect. Here's the callback that explains everything though. Divine body, the constitution he inherited with the immortal class, cranks his learning rate through the roof. He's not gifted. He's got a cheat installed at the soul level. Naturally he gets cocky. Is this enough for black rank confidence? And Dexter deflates him on the spot. Stop acting arrogant. You were literally just crying your eyes out. The whiplash from fake tears to smug in one scene is sending me. Then the blackmail negotiation. You're not going to spread the crying around, right? Depends on your attitude, my arrogant disciple. Zeke, betrayed. What kind of black knight has a mouth this loose? The noble master-student trope, except they're both just bullies. Time skip a month into training now, and one quiet stat line slides by. His karma just keeps climbing. Easy to skip, but that's the system currency he's been hoarding since the dungeon, the exact stuff that unlocks his locked skills. Keep an eye on that number. Cafeteria ambush. Andre walks up. How did you convince Sir Dexter? Context from last chapter. Andre the Rose Knight was Dexter's only lifelong disciple before this. Zeke shows up and suddenly he's got a little brother he never asked for. Classic jealous senior arc. Zeke plays innocent. I didn't really do anything. Sir Dexter just picked me out, which is technically true and maximally infuriating. Andre spirals into a full inferiority complex and Zeke does not let him cook. The clapback, you really think Dexter picks disciples off bloodline alone? That I turned that interest into an apprenticeship is proof of my own ability. Ice cold. Then the finisher, instead of patting your ego with that inferiority complex, how about putting in some effort so you actually get chosen? He told a certified prodigy to try harder, to his face, in a cafeteria. Last scene, greenhouse. Dexter's baffled because some kid begged to become a servant just to stay near Zeke, and the price tag was 300 laps without aura. He actually did it, collapsed in a heap, but did it. And here's the rhyme that closes it out. Dexter picked Zeke for tenacity last chapter, and now he's watching another kid grind himself into the dirt on pure stubbornness. Thought he was a self-righteous nerd, but he's got backbone. My bet, that's Liam Stone, and this loyalty compounds into something massive down the line. Tell me that servant kid doesn't end up mattering. Comments go. The scariest man in this entire chapter never throws a single punch. He strolls in, pours a kid some rare tea, hands him a no-limit credit card, and calls it family love. So here's my whole read on this one. In the Draker house, every gift is a leash, and the warmer the smile, the tighter it pulls. We open on the whole academy getting summoned at once and instantly spiraling, because one poor kid forgot what day it is. It's the patriarch's visit, which, based on how hard everyone's sweating, ranks somewhere between a surprise inspection and a public execution. Enter Howard, the dean, greeting the man like he's meeting a god. See you again, Howard, real casual. Meanwhile, every knight in the courtyard is bowing so hard I'm genuinely concerned for their spines. And there he is, Arthur Draker, patriarch of the third transcendent household. The strongest man alive aura is doing a lot of work here, and not a single person in frame is brave enough to make eye contact. He gives the young dragon slayers the speech. You're the hope and future. Train hard, train more. Your growth will be the Draker's growth. It's a motivational poster with a beard, warm, inspiring, and completely boilerplate, but the pep rally is not why he actually came. Quick note on the ritual in the name of the dragon. Full ceremonial, old world, the kind of greeting nobody bothers with anymore, and the patriarch clocks exactly who still does it and who doesn't. This man reads a room like a spreadsheet. No one greets like that anymore. Have a seat. Translation: I saw everything, I've filed it, now sit down. And the exact person he wants sitting across that table, our boy Zeke. Then comes the tea. I heard you like tea, so I prepared something rare. And Zeke's inner monologue is just the food I like being served back to me. This isn't hospitality. This is a background check with a saucer. Because the patriarch skips the small talk entirely, I heard Duke actually took in a disciple. That's the whole reason for the visit. The tea, the speech, the pageantry, all set dressing for this one sentence, but watch how fast the temperature drops. Zeke, deadpan as ever, he did me a great favor. No bragging, no flinching. The kid who faked his entire awakening with ether is not about to fumble a simple conversation. Then the patriarch lays it out. I know what your goal is, to become the strongest man on the continent. He says it like he's proud. He is not proud, he's measuring. But Zeke's real goal is quieter than that, stronger than everyone so he can live just as freely. Hold on to that word, freely. And hold on to the fact that this kid is secretly walking, breathing immortality after eating a dragon god's heart. Both of those pay off in about 90 seconds. The patriarch's response: then you mean to surpass even me? And instead of being offended, he's intrigued, which, for a man this powerful, is somehow scarier than if he'd just gotten mad. He starts talking artifacts, one that grants power over every living being within its radius, the pinnacle of aura usage that only Black Knights can reach. It's a flex dressed up as a history lesson, a reminder of exactly how high the ceiling sits above this kid's head. And here's the tell: the patriarch calls Zeke's ambition the most interesting thing I've heard in ages. People this powerful do not get interested for free. He just quietly decided this kid is worth watching closely, so let's actually rank the room. I came to support the academy and you, he says, but I don't think that'll be enough, because he's a real Black Knight, the exact tier Zeke's own Master Dexter sits in. Then everyone leans in expecting a legendary sword or some golden age relic, because that's how these scenes always go. Nope, it's a card. A credit card, no limit, incredible benefits, only handed to a very select few, and Zeke's genuinely a little starstruck. He never thought he'd see one in person, which is exactly the reaction the patriarch was fishing for. I'll put it under both our names so you can use it freely. Freely. There's that word again, except his version of freely comes with his signature sitting right next to yours on every single purchase you ever make. And Zeke clocks it instantly. He's making it look generous, but the intentions are way too obvious. A credit card leaves a record. The patriarch doesn't want to fund him, he wants to track him. This is the whole idea in one panel. The gift is the surveillance. Free life tip from your unbothered narrator. Nobody powerful ever hands you a no-strings gift. The strings are just invisible until the bill arrives. Then comes the sharpest read of the whole scene. Using a card instead of sixing the Black Marshal squad on him means the patriarch doesn't see Zeke as a real threat. Yet, he's being watched like a mildly interesting hobby, not a rival, and that underestimation is exactly what Zeke wants. So Zeke bows out clean. I'll use it only when necessary, then excuses himself, gently needling the old man about being so busy training to become the strongest. He walks out having accepted the leash while quietly deciding he'll never once pull on it. And the second Zeke's gone, the mask slips. Duke rounds on the patriarch. You're suddenly playing father for that kid after neglecting him this whole time. Finally, someone in this family says the quiet part out loud. The patriarch's defense is peak head of household. I have no choice, immediately followed by, and what you just said counts as defamation of my character. He threatens a lawsuit mid-heartfelt argument. Absolutely incredible range on this man. Then it goes weirdly tender. You're the only one I can talk to without worrying. Two of the most powerful men on the continent, and their idea of catching up is trauma over dragon breath tea. But then he asks the question he actually walked in for. The continent's been strange lately, right? Duke plays dumb. The patriarch isn't buying it. You've got eyes and ears all over the place. Even between actual allies, nobody in this house is capable of saying a single thing straight. And here's the payoff. Remember the immortality thing I told you to hold on to? The Emperor has gone completely insane over the idea of immortality and is tearing the entire continent apart hunting for it. Meanwhile, the literal immortal is a teenager sipping rare tea 2 rooms over. Duke asks if it's even possible. The patriarch completely flat, immortality is not possible, which is the funniest line in the chapter because we in Zeke know he ate a dragon god's heart and is talking exhibit that it absolutely is. And the last beat drops the real bomb. The Emperor isn't just chasing immortality, he's hunting something tied to the Elder Dragon. My prediction, that search walks straight into whatever Zeke's quietly carrying, and this cozy little credit card visit was the Empire's opening move on the board. Bet that's the real twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The artifact that yanked our guy back through time. It's the same relic an Emperor wants so he can become an unkillable god. This is a power read, and today the strongest thing on the board isn't a knight, it's an object. We open on the quiet corner of the map, the northern continent. The Empire's Black Knights traced an Elder Dragon artifact up there, and here's the one piece of good news. They haven't actually grabbed it yet. Emphasis on yet, it's only a matter of time before they do. On an analyst's board, that's not a safety net, that's a countdown timer with the Empire's name on it. Then the war story. Some emperor takes the throne and immediately kicks off a continent-wide war to unite everything, and only stops after swallowing half the central continent. Casual guy, keep the word immortality bookmarked, we are coming right back to it. Because if even one of these artifacts truly grants immortality, the continent burns again. And let's be clear on the scaling, an immortal emperor isn't a rank you beat, he's the game over screen. So our boy does the sensible thing and sends someone north to get there first. If the Empire's on the clock, you get on it faster. He calls his operative a fox. The fox shoots back that he only ever picks the most annoying jobs for them to do. That's a complaint and a yes at the same time, best kind of employee. One nice drink later, I'll make my move immediately, O Master of the Drakers, and the fox is gone. Notice the title. People are starting to say Master of the Drakers like it's already fact. Now Zeke's alone, and here's the flex. A plane recap breezes past. He absorbed the heart of Bahamut, an actual dragon, and he still can't fix the side effects of holding a manifestation too long. Dragon heart in the tank, engine still stalling. Then it clicks for him, that statue he got his hands on before he died. Elder Dragon artifact, the voice he heard as he died, the system message right after he regressed, all the same source. He's connecting the dots on his own death. And the read lands hard. The thing that sent him back in time is the exact artifact the Emperor wants to grant his wish. His regression wasn't a blessing from some kind administrator. It was a side effect of a god-tier weapon. There's your bookmark cashed in. If that really is the immortality artifact, what does rewinding time have to do with never dying? He walks out of this scene with more questions than he came in with. Honestly, same buddy. Hard cut, training hall. Zeke's mid-session and already annoyed, he told Decker not to bother him in here, didn't he? Decker says a fellow student came looking for him. Zeke's actual internal response, I don't have any friends at the academy though. Sir, that is the saddest variable I have ever logged into a power chart. It's Liam Stone, if you've been here since the early chapters, yeah, the servant kid, future mercenary king. Current status, standing at the door begging. Everybody starts somewhere. Please take me in, I pledge my allegiance to you. Full pledge on the spot. This is the kid Jakin abandoned, so watch the loyalty stat reroute in real time to the guy who actually noticed him. But there's a catch. Liam needs into Valhalla, and Zeke clocks that Liam was this obsessed with Valhalla in the last timeline too. Nobody knows why yet. Bookmark that one because Zeke clearly has. Zeke's response is beautifully unbothered. Are you stupid? Go to Tirun or Zimmons instead. Man deflects a life or death pledge like it's a wrong number. And he's not wrong on the mechanics. Draker is a support family. As such, he won't be any help getting Liam into Valhalla. It's genuinely bad career advice to hitch to him. Besides, to be frank, you might be a spy sent by Jakin. Cold but fair, the kid's whole resume so far is one documented betrayal. Trust doesn't come free in a regression story. Liam doesn't flinch. It's only natural you doubt me, but I'll prove myself, whatever it takes. And then he defines whatever it takes way too literally. Rule of 3 and it escalates fast. Want him mute, he'll cut out his tongue. Want him a cripple, he'll cut off his foot. Want his life, it's already in Zeke's hands. That's not begging anymore, that's a blood oath. Zeke still completely deadpan. Your worthless life, nah, keep it, I will take your ear. The man heard a full life pledge and negotiated it down to one ear. Iconic middle management energy. And here's the line that actually matters for the power read. I wish to become stronger than anyone else. A no-aura servant kid, bleeding, aiming for the literal ceiling. On the tier chart, that's a rounding error declaring war on the top rank. So Zeke sets the exam, withstand one strike from me. Simple bar, except one strike from a 15-year-old blue knight is not a normal unit of measurement. Now watch the miss scale. Zeke assumes one strike is easy. He's a genuine Draker aura user. Dropping a servant kid should be a formality. He literally thinks this will be easy. However, the gap is a canyon. Liam eats a Draker aura strike and can barely breathe, but he does not go down. For a no-aura servant standing against that, staying conscious is basically an S-rank feat disguised as a beating. Quick aside, this is the single most efficient origin story in the genre. Get abandoned, get punched, get an ear taken, become a legend. Zeke calls the whole effort miserable. I call it the first frame of the Mercenary King. Here's my read. The artifact is the real end game. An emperor chasing immortality outscales every knight in this series, but Liam eating one strike is the quiet feat that ages the best. Bet the ear becomes his favorite story. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Would you saw off your own arm just to keep a job? Because this kid says yes, and he is very much not bluffing. Rewind, Zeke isn't recruiting Liam, he's telling him to quit. Give up on Valhalla, go home, not a pep talk, a dismissal. And he's got receipts. Liam got dumped by Jakin. He's from a branch family so small he only slipped into the cradle as somebody's attendant. On paper, he does not belong here. Which is rich coming from the guy whose own academy expelled a direct descendant. Zeke knows exactly how this place treats the spares. But hold on to this, because we already know how Liam's story ends. This nobody claws all the way up to rank red and becomes the Mercenary King. Remember that. Liam's not hearing the speech. One more chance, Lord Zeke, plays. Yeah, he's not giving up. So Zeke sets a condition, then casually goes, if I wanted you crippled, you'd cut off your own feet, right? Just testing the waters. Very normal, very healthy boss behavior. Then the real ask lands, your right arm. For a kid chasing swords, that's not a chore. That's telling him to give up the dream entirely. The read on screen is basically no sane person does this. And Zeke hands him a clean exit, can't do it, then get out of here. There's even a soft landing baked in, don't be too devastated, Liam, you'll reach red either way. Which, spoiler, he absolutely does. And then Liam picks up the blade. This crazy bastard actually swings. Zeke catches it mid-motion. Have you lost your goddamn mind? What were you gonna do if I'd gone back on my word? And Liam's answer is the gut punch. It's because he might lose something worth more to him than the arm. Zeke's reaction is peek him, do something this foolish again, screw your loyalty, you're out. He's threatening a guy for being too loyal. That's affection, Manhwa style. Then he heals him with a joke, hurry up, Liam. What would people think if my subordinate was walking around missing an ear? Translation, you passed, you're in. Liam can't believe he'd waste a rare potion on him. Zeke, I'm investing in you, don't worry about it. Cold delivery, warm move, classic. Now the actual why. After Jakin abandoned him, Liam's mother collapsed with a high fever. The fever broke, but her whole body's covered in rose-red spots, and she's getting weaker by the day. Village healers can't even name the disease, so Valhalla. Its students and their families get the best medical care on the continent. That's the entire gamble. He wasn't chasing glory, he was chasing a doctor. And here's where I sit up straight. Zeke recognizes it instantly. Periodic high fevers, rose-red spots, this is the plague that in 5 years torches the entire central continent. Highly contagious, brutal fatality rate, countless dead before anyone even invents a cure. He's looking at a future continent-wide catastrophe, sitting quietly in one sick woman. So he just hands Liam the recipe. Not hard to make, your village healers can manage it, casually diffusing a continent-ending disaster like it's a side quest. How does he know? He knows the whole future, the alchemist brothers who eventually crack it, the greedy association that price gouges the dying, the brothers going public so everyone gets it. His cover story for all this cosmic knowledge, let's just say I know an alchemist. Sure, buddy, real convincing. Then the flex, you've got the cure now, so you don't need Valhalla, and you don't need me. He's straight up letting Liam walk away. And Liam kneels harder. My life already belongs to you, Lord Zeke. Lifelong loyalty, sworn on the spot. Free him and he chains himself right back. Zeke, dry as ever, having the future mercenary king in my pocket is quite reassuring. Told you that rank cred detail mattered. He just recruited a legend 3 chapters early. Then we cut to the villains. A Zimmons strolls up to the dean proposing they crank up this semester's exam difficulty. The stated reason, a fairer assessment, suitor it is. Dean buys it. You truly are a child of Zimmons. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They want to nip Zeke in the bud before he ever gets to bloom. So here's my prediction. That plague is the arc's real end game, and Zeke's future knowledge cure is power no sword can buy him. Meanwhile, the harder exam, that's just the Zimmons building a bigger stage for him to embarrass them on. Bet it backfires spectacularly. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The Zimmons rigged this entire exam to bury Zeke in a dungeon and make it look like a tragic accident. So naturally, our guy spends most of it taking a nap and then hands the actual fight to a servant kid. This is a Connections episode, so lock in. Almost every beat here is a callback to something we've already watched happen. So it's the semester exam, the day of the dungeon exploration. 2-person teams get dropped into a dungeon and have to escape before the clock runs out. It is the single most standard academy arc setup the genre has. Hold onto that word standard, because someone is about to make it very much not standard. Difficulties vary, each team draws one at random, and the timer starts the second you step through the entrance. 96 hours on the clock, no do-overs. You get graded on combat 2, bonus points for hauling back monster heads, but the actual pass condition is stupidly simple. Get out alive before the timer hits 0, or you eat the penalty. An instructor asks Zeke if he's nervous. Too nervous and you make mistakes, too relaxed and you get arrogant, so you want a suitable amount of tension to guard against both. Genuinely good advice, the kind a real mentor drops. Zeke nods along politely and is, spoiler, about to nap straight through the tension. Next up, Zeke Draker and Liam Stone. If you skipped last chapter, Liam is the kid who literally swung a blade at his own arm to prove his loyalty, and Zeke healed him and took him on. So this pairing walks in already loaded with history. They head into their assigned zone, and immediately Liam builds the entire camp and cooks the whole meal by himself. Zeke tells him to sleep first, very gracious Lord energy, right up until you hear the reason Zeke himself doesn't need the rest. I'll be fine even if I don't sleep for around 4 days, said completely casually. And there's the first big connection, that's the immortal class from chapter 17 talking. Infinite stamina, always on passive. The man is a walking human power bank pretending that's a normal thing to be. But then the chapter does something I genuinely didn't see coming, and it's the smartest beat in here. 16 hours in, Zeke runs the numbers on himself. He trained right up until exam day, which means he'd already been awake 3 straight days before this even started, so he's actually been up for around 60 hours. And here's the catch everyone glosses right over: infinite stamina only recovers physical fatigue, not mental. So the unkillable cheat code kid is still running on a fried brain, and in a dungeon where you never know what's coming, that's the one risk he can't just heal off. So the plan is simple and responsible. Swap watch shifts the moment Liam wakes up. Cool, competent, fully in control, which in this genre is exactly when everything goes wrong. And then the mask cracks, damn it, that dream again. Our immortal regressor, the guy who ate a dragon god's heart, is lying there getting wrecked by nightmares he can't shake. Whatever the regression did to him, the body came back flawless and the head very much did not. He snaps awake and shakes Liam. Something's out there. Don't light the fire, he says. I'll go scout it myself first. Scent of sulfur hanging in the air. Pack hunters. And Zeke, cool as ever, just goes quietly, no way. Hellhound's the dog from hell, an actual danger-ranked monster, and here's the callback that made me grin. In his past life, during this exact exam, it was Rihanna who hunted these things. Rihanna, the prodigy everyone keeps insisting is more talented than him. Now they're his problem instead. Except something's off and Zeke clocks it fast. A hellhound pack leader at the absolute biggest tops out around a few 100 kilograms. This one, judging by the echoes alone, it weighs several tons, which means it isn't just a hellhound anymore, it's a mutant. That's insane, his words, not mine, and then it clicks into place. Those damn Zimmons. This is the exact sabotage they set up last chapter, when a Simmons leaned on the dean to crank the whole semester's difficulty specifically to suppress Zeke. I told you to hold onto that, payoff delivered. And let's be clear about what this actually is. They didn't rig it so he'd fail the exam. They rigged it so he'd die in a hole where nobody would ever find the body. Because the mutant isn't even Hellhound tier anymore, it's escalated to troll rank. As in, a monster comfortably strong enough to munch on hellhounds and orcs like snacks. The kind of thing whose regeneration is so absurd they literally harvest trolls as raw material for healing medicine. Now here's where the trope flips hard. 9 out of 10 Manhwa protagonists in this exact spot solo the boss, look effortlessly cool, roll credits. Zeke's plan, be the decoy himself, draw the troll, and let Liam take the real shot. He steps back on purpose. And Liam does not take it well. What kind of lord, he asks, abandons his own subordinate? So Zeke hands him the real line, don't believe in me, believe in your own effort. You are not weak. I'll support you, so do as you'd like. It's the anti-mentor move, and it should feel familiar. It's exactly what Dexter did to Zeke back in the training chapters. The strong one deliberately holding back so the kid is forced to grow. The student is now running his teacher's playbook. And Liam actually delivers. He wounds the troll despite that ridiculous armored hide, striking clean and precise right at the joints. Zeke watches and drops a rare, genuine he's quite good. Turns out the kid's been studying monsters in his downtime. Of course he has. You don't become the future mercenary king by winging it. That title got foreshadowed chapters ago, and this is the receipt. But then comes the single most ominous word in any language, however. Liam apologizes because he overlooked the one thing that actually defines a troll. It heals instantly. Those clean joint cuts, sealed shut before he can even follow up. And Zeke's lesson lands hard. You cannot outdamage that regeneration with normal, proper attacks, full stop. Which is the whole point, and the irony sitting right there in the open. The kid can't out-heal a troll, while his lord quietly out-heals literally everything in existence. My bet for next chapter. Zeke finally shows Liam how you actually put down something that flat-out refuses to die. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The Simmons rigged this entire exam to kill Zeke, and instead they handed him a free quest, a double karma jackpot, and a fully leveled up servant. That's the whole chapter in one line. Every trap these people set is just a gift with extra steps. We open on the troll from last chapter, dead, 30 karma paid out. And notice Zeke didn't swing. Liam landed the blows, but the system still cuts Zeke the check. First words out of Zeke's mouth over the corpse, pick it up, Liam, no breather, loot the body. Then the system drops a sudden quest, 2 birds, 1 stone, hunt 100 monsters across 10 different species in 72 hours. Reward, double the karma, plus 2 random boxes. 100 monsters, no problem, 10 species, that's the catch. Because an exam dungeon normally only spawns 4. And here's the read that makes this chapter click. Zeke does the math out loud. If there are more than 4 species down here, it's only because the Simmons crammed extras in to trap him. So he flips it, their sabotage just became his treasure map. Keep that in mind, it pays off. Liam grabs the cheap collection bag they were issued. Zeke says don't fall behind, and they move. Cue the montage, timer bleeding down, bodies piling up. Zeke checks in mid-grind, you used to real combat yet? Liam admits it took a while. Which, for a kid who a few chapters back offered to saw off his own arm to prove loyalty, is genuinely healthy growth. 50 minutes on the clock, 9 species, 99 monsters, 1 species and 1 kill short. The pettiest cliffhanger this dungeon could possibly serve. And he's not scared, he's annoyed. The Simmons really are useless, he grumbles, because they only prepped 1 more species. My guy is mad the people trying to murder him didn't try harder. Sit with that. Then species number 10 shows up. A dungeon worm, the kind of thing that officially takes 8 well-trained purple knights to put down. Even a blue knight would quietly nope out of fighting one of these in a spot like this. Why so bad? It eats through the earth to move. Take too long and it doesn't kill you, it buries you alive. Zeke, dodging a monster the size of a subway car, just mutters this damn bug. Peak composure. Then mid-fight the worm's pressure suddenly weakens. Something's wrong with it, and Zeke clocks it in a second. Turns out Liam had coated his blade in an anesthetic and stabbed it. Zeke's whole face is just, what did you do? Okay, here's the part that actually got me. The main ingredient in that anesthetic is belladonna. On a human, it just dulls the senses, mild stuff, but worms are wildly incompatible with belladonna. To this thing, it's flat-out lethal poison. Liam remembered that mid-fight and improvised a whole kill out of a numbing agent. And this time Zeke actually hands out praise, says Liam's judgment lives up to his title. Reminder, Zeke already knows this kid grows into the mercenary king. He's not training a servant, he's watching an origin story. One more coordinated stab on Zeke's signal. And the worm that supposedly needs 8 purple nights goes down to 1 servant kid and a bottle of poison. Quest complete, karma doubled, 2 random boxes dropped, counter ticks up to 780. So let's actually tally it. Remember when I said the sabotage was the map? The Zimmons paid good money to rig this exam, and what they delivered was a bonus quest, double rewards, and a battle-tested servant who now kills siege-class monsters with cough syrup. Told you, every trap's a gift. My bet, those 2 random boxes end up worth more than everything the Zimmons spent trying to kill him, and they'll be back next chapter to help him level up again. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A first-year drags in a monster that normally needs 8 purple nights, drops its head on the grading table, and nearly doubles the school's all-time record. This is a power scaling review, and this exam is a joke by the end. First, the baseline, just escaping the dungeon alive is worth 30 points. That's the floor. Keep that number in your head because it tells you exactly how the curve is set. Survival gets you a participation trophy. Then the purebloods start posting numbers. Goblin heads, hobgoblins, someone brushing up against Abel's record score of 200. The room's already whispering about purebloods being on another level. Remember that phrase, it ages like milk. Rihanna Tirun clears the passing grade of 130 like it's a curb. Prodigy tax paid in full. On the scaling ladder, she's the confirmed top of the student bracket right now, the number everyone else is measured against. Next kid posts 120 against a 70 passing line. Solid, very normal human solid. I'm establishing the tier list here so you feel the drop when it comes because it is about to come. And Rihanna, fresh off her flex, takes a shot at someone. You won't get to act cocky forever. Bold words, file them under famous last takes because the cocky one hasn't even walked in yet. Cut to 2 people who forgot the sun exists. Zeke and Liam, crawling out after days underground. And the second Zeke's voice hits the room, everybody freezes, because word's already spreading about what these 2 dragged out. A dungeon worm, they killed a dungeon worm. The crowd's malfunctioning, weren't orcs supposed to be the top-scoring monster? Yeah, for everyone operating in the normal tier. These 2 are not operating in the normal tier. Owen's standing there looking like he saw a ghost, and Zeke just strolls up. You seem surprised, Owen. Are you not happy to see me? Ice cold. The man is roasting his would-be assassin at a school function. He tells Owen the shell-shocked look suits him better anyway and walks off mid-conversation. The crowd calls him merciless. This is the power move nobody scales, dismissing your rival before he finishes his sentence. Now the actual grading and its instructor Andre doing it, Dexter's old disciple, the Rose Knight, the one who was jealous of Zeke a few chapters back. Zeke even goes, "Do you really need to grade me?" Andre says he won't gloss over anything. Zeke plays it humble. "I got lucky, lost all my goblin heads because that dungeon worm ambushed me, so I just brought the worm's head instead." Casual. Nobody accidentally trades goblin heads for the single hardest monster in the dungeon. Andre catches the flesh stuck in the worm's teeth and starts cataloging the kill list. Gremlins, goblins, hobgoblins, hellhounds, orcs, a troll. Then he says the word dungeon worm and even he has to double take. Here's where the scaling gets real. Official records, a troll is 3 orcs strong, a dungeon worm is 6 orcs strong. So Andre rules the trolls 90 points, the worm 180. He counts each species as a single head to be fair. That's already generous downward. Final tally 368 points, he passes. For context, the record everyone was worshipping earlier was 200. He didn't beat the top student. He deleted the entire scoreboard while claiming he got unlucky. The veteran cadets in back are shattered. Back in their day, hellhounds weren't even on the exam. And Owen's screaming it's not fair, all he's got is 1 worm head. Buddy, the worm alone is 180. That single head outscores your whole run. And here's the catch nobody in that room clocks. The exam was rigged harder to kill Zeke. Extra species, escalated monsters, the Zimmons sabotage. They stacked the deck to end him, and every card they added just became more points on his sheet. Zeke clocks it too. This wasn't Owen freelancing. It might be the whole Zimmons house, powerful enough to bend the academy itself. That's a serious power read. He's not fighting a bully anymore. He's on a noble family's radar. And this is the smart part. He realizes he's being watched way more than he thought between the Zimmons and his own patriarch surveillance card from earlier, so hiding his strength obviously is now counterproductive. New plan, adapt, blend in a little, keep one eye open. Quick note, Renee's still watching him from across the yard. She said he wouldn't stay cocky forever. He just posted the highest score in Academy history. Told you those words would age badly. Now the payoff for the grind. Remember the karma he's been stacking, sitting at 780. He cracks open the shop and finds a draconian skill, gluttony, level 1, locked, 50 points. Description reads like a joke, you can eat a lot and digest a lot. He unlocks it anyway, and the second he does, the description rewrites itself. Now it says, eat and digest anything, convert it to energy, and consuming monsters with bloodline abilities lets you absorb that monster's ability. That is not a snack skill, that is a stat theft engine. His first reaction is pure regret, should have activated this before the exam, right, where he just personally killed a troll and a dungeon worm. He was standing on a buffet of bloodline abilities and ate none of them. Genuinely the funniest miss in the chapter. He tests it on some jerky, it vanishes into his shadow like a bog swallowed it. Then the real kicker, his migraine's gone, his mental fatigue drops, his whole body feels rejuvenated. 50 points that heal the one thing he couldn't fix. And here's why that's broken. Infinite stamina already meant he never feels physical fatigue, but it never touched the mental exhaustion or the nightmares. Gluttony patches exactly that hole. Stack them and he can train 24 hours straight, no food, no sleep forever. Mid-power fantasy, Decker barges into the training hall, the servant spy who Zeke told to never disturb him here. But it's important news, so it survives. And honestly, this news is worth the interruption. The sword is done, Galleon finished it. And Zeke's hyped for a reason. In his past life, this same Smith forged the legendary Sword of Radiance, Graham, a famous blade at a glance. This time Zeke handed him a dragon's fang as material. He's expecting something that looks just as iconic. And then he sees it and it's not what he expected. Chapter cuts on the words the fastest, and that's the tease. My read, a dragon fang blade forged by a legend isn't going to be pretty. It's going to be a speed weapon that breaks his whole scaling ceiling. Bet that's the real twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Genuine question, why does the greatest blacksmith alive forge a sword he refuses to sharpen, openly admits is kind of ugly, and then hands it over like it's the crown jewels? That's chapter 26, and the answer is better than you think. First things first, no, this isn't laziness or a bad day at the forge. Galleon left it blunt completely on purpose. He looked at the finished blade, decided an edge would ruin it, and stopped. It's meant to be that way. This is a man whose every other creation is a mirror-polished masterpiece, and on this one he basically went, nah, dull is the vibe, which should tell you exactly who it's for. Here's my read, Zeke doesn't fight like a swordsman. No aura, he's leaning on the Gale Arts movement style, and a body that literally cannot die. He doesn't need a razor, he needs a bat that hits like a truck. And Galleon says the quiet part out loud, this is the sword that suits you best, then immediately gets nervous he overstepped. That is correct, sir. The legendary Smith, sweating in front of a first year. Then Zeke clocks something. Normally you hand a guy a blunt, ugly sword and call it perfect, he's confused. But Galleon understood exactly what Zeke was going for. Hold on to that, he understood. It matters in about 30 seconds. If it's him, Galleon's got this quiet, total faith in Zeke that, honestly, nobody else in this series has actually earned yet. The blacksmith believes before the world does. Cute, remember it. Now the twist, the sword doesn't have a name. Galleon tried to name it himself and came up empty. No matter how hard he pushed, nothing landed. A master craftsman stumped by his own work. So he asks Zeke to name it instead. In a genre where the hero dramatically christens his own legendary blade mid-battle, our guy just outsources it. Deadpan humility as a flex. Manhwa protagonists naming their own edgy swords could never. This man delegated it, relieved face. Galleon lands on Radiance, a name he came up with all by himself. And okay, for a sword forged to be deliberately dull and plain, naming it Radiance is a little bit funny and a lot cool. Here's the callback for the day ones. Galleon assumed this was basically Graham 2.0, same as the blade he forged from a dragon's fang, just reshaped. Same material, same idea, different mold. But then he corrects himself, no, Radiance is an entirely different sword from Graham, and that little correction is my first prediction flag of the episode because a smith that precise doesn't say that lightly. Prediction 1: Radiance is a growth weapon. Dragon fang material, left unsharpened on purpose, tuned to a guy who eats monsters and absorbs bloodlines with gluttony. That blade scales with Zeke, it doesn't just get used, it evolves. And then out of absolutely nowhere, Zeke does something genuinely unhinged. The whole tone flips. What are you doing? He cuts himself with the brand new sword on purpose, in front of the man who just forged it. No warning, no explanation, just slices his own hand open and lets it bleed. And here's the line that made me actually sit up. Even if healing factor is active at all times, it is still my skill. He's talking about the always-on immortality, the one that's supposed to be automatic. Stop the bleeding, I should be able to control it. Read that again, he's not activating anything. He's trying to switch his own passive immortality OFF on command. Nobody in this story has ever done that. System pops, the administrator's request has been confirmed. The passive activation of healing factor has been stopped temporarily. It didn't refuse, it complied. Okay, stop, this is huge. The healing factor he ate a dragon god's heart for, the passive he could never turn off, the one that kept exposing his secret, he just paused it. Voluntarily, that's a first. It worked, and even Zeke is a little surprised, which, for a guy who plans 3 regressions ahead and never blinks, is basically him screaming. The cool mask cracked for exactly 1 panel. Prediction 2, this rewrites his whole survival game. His pulseless, auraless body has nearly gotten him caught over and over. Dexter felt for pulse and found nothing. If he can toggle the immortality, he can fake being normal on demand. And the reason for the sudden self-harm speedrun, Zeke figures it out mid-blade. Could this be the sword naming ritual? The sword naming ritual. You christen radiance in blood. Sit with that combo, a dragon fang blade named with the blood of the one guy on the continent walking around with a dragon god's heart inside him. That's not a naming ceremony, that's a bonding. But here's the part everyone's gonna scroll right past. The administrator granted his request. The same administrator that is the elder dragon artifact the emperor is burning the continent to find. Told you he understood would matter. This is the system understanding him back. Prediction 3, the big one, the system isn't just a rule book, it's negotiable. If Zeke can make a request and it says yes, then his relationship with the thing that rewound his life is the actual end game, not the sword fights. My bet, Radiance grows into his signature weapon, and that toggle for healing factor is what finally lets him stroll past every person hunting his secret. The blunt, ugly sword and the off switch are the 2 quietest power spikes he's ever gotten. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A storybook everyone swore was made up turns out to be real, and it just handed our guy a promotion inside the god machine running his whole life. Chapter 27, and today we're playing Connect the Dots. Every beat here echoes something we've already seen. First, some housekeeping. Remember those 2 mystery boxes he won back in Chapter 24 and then just didn't open? Chekhov's loot. He finally cracks the second one. Inside, not a sword, not gold, a crusty old map. The system perks up. This map carries traces of Grand Master Kaiser. As in hero King Kaiser, the guy who supposedly founded the Kingdom of Kronos with his Knights of the Clock Tower. Here's the thing, Kaiser's biography is the most popular book on the continent, and it's also considered total fiction. No records, stories too absurd. Basically the Manhwa equivalent of King Arthur, cool, beloved, probably fake. Except the system just went, nah, he was real. The fairy tale is history. Keep that empty mountain range in mind because that's where this is headed. System restores the damaged parts of the map and drops a pin on the minimap, the giant mountains deep in the territory of Paragon. Remember the mountain, it matters in a sec. Now watch the trope get flipped. Normally the Ice Guy hero is stuck grinding the boring tutorial for 10 chapters. Zeke, due to the user's skill, the tutorial will be concluded. He's so good the game skips the tutorial for him. And graduating early unlocks the real prize, an achievement quest for Kaiser's secret technique. Reward not aura, not gold. Administrator authority elevation, elementary to intermediate. This is the part everyone will skim, so let me stop you. The system spells it out. The whole tutorial was just raising him to a baseline because he's a low-ranked administrator. After the tutorial comes the quest to develop the administrator. Connect it to chapters 21 and 26. This artifact is the elder dragon relic the Emperor is burning the continent to find. Zeke isn't playing the game, he's slowly being handed the keys to it. His reaction to becoming God's junior sysadmin, a flat baby steps then, unbothered as always. Then he goes shopping, and this is peak Zeke, the same karma hoarder from chapter 24 who sat on a 780 counter. I'll use up the points I've been saving. 50 points unlocks level 2 draconian skills, the same draconian tree that gave him gluttony last chapter. 2 options on the menu. Option 1, dragon scale armor, scales that harden for absurd magic resistance. Option 2, dragon claw, summon a claw that ends someone in a single strike, offense and defense right off the dragon. He's loaded on points, but he knows he won't hit a windfall like this again, so he buys smart and still walks away banking 400. Even mid-power up, this man is doing budgeting. Both skills active, he tries Dragon Claw first. Way better than expected. From the guy who's fought a troll and a dungeon worm and barely blinked, that's basically a rave review. Then Scale Armor, he swings at himself with full intent to cut through, and the blade just bounces off, like wearing full plate while completely unarmed. Claw for attack, Scales for defense. Great how intuitive it is, warmed up. He's basically a walking dragon now, and he's treating it like a Tuesday. Hard cut, Draker Academy, Central Training Hall, right before the semester's practical aura exam. The rules, and they're brutal, dumb as you can barely scratch with raw force but easy to wreck with aura. Fail to leave even a dent, and every following exam is void, you start over from the basics. Enter Owen Zimmons, yes, the same Owen who rigged the exam dungeon to murder Zeke. He's here bragging that the Zimmons literally built the Academy's aura curriculum, so nobody's matching his control. And credit where it's due, Owen pulls off sword resonance at 13. The room gushes, incredible, expected of a great house, he'll surpass Sir Abel in no time. Here's your rule of 3, Owen aces it, the other cadets struggle, intimidated, and yet plot twist, not a single one actually fails. The special class really is built different. Then Rihanna Tirun steps up. The prodigy Zeke dethroned in chapter 25, 368 to her second place. She doesn't want the normal grade. She requests to be judged by the dragon-slaying arts, the criteria for higher-ranked cadets. Owen's thrilled sneers that her competitiveness will screw her. Her aura will die after a swing or two. Failure penalties way harsher. Everything's set up for her to eat it. So of course she nails it, clears the harder criteria, and doesn't just beat Owen. The crowd notes he doesn't even compare. His reaction, "Are you mocking me?" Her answer, flat as a board, "No," deadpan of the chapter, and it wasn't even our guy. So, told you the mountain mattered. That Kaiser map is the next arc, and I'm betting the fictional hero king is tied straight to the administrator system Zeke's now inheriting. The Emperor's hunting a relic, Zeke's about to walk into its birthplace and get promoted. Bet that's the real twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Here's the whole chapter in one sentence. This kid's entire plan for the day is to look normal, blend in, be forgettable, do just enough. And by the last page he's been handed a promotion he never asked for and lined up against an imperial killer. Watch a man try to be subtle with absolutely zero talent for it. We pick up right where we left off. Rihanna, the gate prodigy, walks up and asks to be graded on the dragon-slaying arts criteria. The pureblood standard. She's not asking for the easy version. She's asking for harder on purpose and clearing it. The instructor does the classic gatekeep. You taking this lightly because Cadet Rihanna made it look easy. She's a pure blood. Translation, don't get cocky, kid, which is a very funny thing to say to the guy who's about to embarrass everyone in the room. Then someone actually checks the records and clocks it. This cadet's attendance is fully processed, but nobody's seen him in class. Not once. Turns out he won a bet with instructor Andre to get out of them. Zeke doesn't skip homework. He negotiates his way out of the entire concept of homework. And the resume speaks for itself. An unheard of golden light pureblood awakener who broke Sir Abel's dungeon escape record. Remember last chapter, 368 points, nearly double the all-time high. So much for lying low, huh? So Zeke steps up to demonstrate, and his very first thought is, harnessing my strength is difficult. Let that land. The immortal regressor's actual daily struggle isn't being strong enough. It's not being too strong. Then he executes it. Dragon Slaying Arts, Chapter 1, first verse, Sky Slice. And the instructor's brain just short circuits. He's perfected it to a degree comparable to himself. No comparable to instructor Andre, a first year, doing the literal beginner move, and it's already teacher level. And here's the part that's genuinely a little chilling. He practiced these arts so thoroughly in the 2 years before he regressed that he can run them in his sleep. His sword, his movements, his positioning, his footwork, all of it ingrained so deep it doesn't require conscious thought. This isn't raw talent. This is a man who already lived an entire life doing this, died, and came back to run it back perfectly. Meanwhile, his internal monologue is pure deadpan gold. I was extremely bored of dragon-slaying arts, bored of the thing he just performed cleaner than his own teacher. The audacity is elite. Starting over from the basics isn't so bad, he decides. This much should be enough to stir up Riene. Notice the plan here: measured, controlled, calibrated to nudge his rival, and nothing more. Keep that word controlled in your pocket. It ages badly in about 4 seconds. And then his aura freaks out on its own, unconsciously. He was aiming for something similar to Riene's level, and it just spiked clean past it without asking permission. Told you controlled wouldn't survive. This man is physically incapable of doing just enough. Even Zeke catches himself. Did I get too absorbed in it? Yeah, you did. The self-awareness arrives about one dramatic aura explosion too late, as it always does. And the students in the stands start doing the math out loud. He wrapped his sword in aura, that massive blade. Does that mean Zeke's on the level of a purple knight at 13? For the record, hitting purple knight at 13 isn't a lucky roll, it's a headline. So the dean glides in with the pitch, the grade advancement exam. Skip a grade, maybe more depending on how you perform. A system designed for remarkable cadets like you. Smooth. Zeke wanted attention like he wanted a hole in the head, and he just earned the VIP package. And Zeke internally, he took the bait faster than expected. So plot twist, this was part of the plan, sort of, because he immediately adds, though I stood out more than I intended. There it is again. The whole chapter in 4 words, overshot every single time. Both Golden Blood Awakeners sign up, Rihanna and Zeke, same exam. The rivalry escalates on schedule. Quick breather bit, Rihanna's just openly staring at him. His entire response, at least pretend you're not staring at me. Flat delivery, zero eye contact. The relationship is very emotionally healthy and normal. Then the whole mood drops through the floor. The examiner for this grade advancement isn't some instructor. It's the main family's upper-class knight. This just got serious. And someone recognizes him on sight, dieback blade. A damned dog of the Empire, what's he even doing at a family academy? His name's Murray of the Northern Allied Forces, and his opening move is to walk up to Rihanna and go, "Shall I help you?" Then immediately, "Even if you say no, I'll do it anyway." Cool. The judge has decided your grade before the test begins. And the significance isn't small. An upper-class knight is the guard who backs the family's future heir. You need power, renown, and experience to even hold the title. This is a high-ranking imperial blade. Nobody sent a warm-up examiner today. The exam method itself is simple and brutal. A swordsmanship battle, the kind familiar to alumni of the cradle. You keep going until you lose consciousness or give up, and he expects you to put forth everything you have. Which is a hilarious set of conditions for this specific guy. Fight all out against an imperial killer, hold nothing back, when his entire problem all chapter has been that he can't hold anything back even when he tries. So the kid who spent the entire chapter trying to look average now has to duel an imperial blade with the whole academy watching, and we've already watched his aura rat him out once tonight. My bet, he accidentally overshoots one final time, an Empire spy takes notes, and his little blend-in plan is dead on arrival. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. 2 13-year-olds gang up on an imperial upper-class knight, and the winning move is turning off the lights. This is a grade advancement exam, but read it like a power scaling problem. 2 cadets versus a knight who is genuinely tiers above both of them, and somehow the tier gap loses. Murray opens with the most disrespectful line an examiner can say, "No need to go separately, come at me together." That's not confidence, that's a boss telling you the health bar you're staring at is decorative. And he's right to be smug on paper. He flat out states the difference in skill, and the exam clock has already started ticking. Upper-class knight is a real, named rank, and 2 first years should be a rounding error against it. He even coaches the mid-fight. You'd have lost points rushing and emotional, which is the funniest part. The strongest guy in the room is also grading their composure. Points for style, points for not dying. Rihanna reads the board instantly, 1 strike, that's the whole win condition. It's not a duel to unconsciousness anymore, it's a heist. steal exactly one clean hit and leave. Quick aside on Riene's weapon because it matters. She's swinging a H-Wando, a short, single-edged Eastern blade she's clearly logged serious hours with. Homegirl brought a specialist tool to a specialist fight. But here's Zeke being Zeke. Riene's pride is bruised at the idea of ganging up, and he just goes. What use is honor or pride to the weak? Cold, correct, but cold. Watch the tear gap in real time. Riena is actively targeting his blind spots, textbook, disciplined, the reason she's a prodigy, and she can't land an effective blow. Can't even scratch him. That's the read, prodigy tier offense bouncing off knight tier defense like it's nothing. So Zeke reaches back into continuity. Remember when he beat Riena in the cradle by making her eat a rock she should have dodged? Turns out that wasn't luck, she's a pure-blood awakener, and her own mana interferes with her perception. He weaponized her bloodline against her once, hold on to that. The plan crystallizes, they can't outskill Murray, so they force a situation where one strike works. Don't beat the boss, change the arena. Riene, honor still intact, refuses, she won't join such a shameful strategy, won't tarnish an honorable duel. And Zeke, food on the table pragmatist that he is, hits her with, since when did honor put food on the table? Then he lands the actual argument, and it's the sharpest line in the chapter. This isn't a match between knights, it's an exam. They're testing our ability to kill. That reframes everything, there are no points for a fair loss. Riena folds fairly since she's the one who asked for his help. Alliance locked, now the mechanics. Here's the gadget, a simple single-use device that stores exactly one spell. And Zeke doesn't want firepower, he wants a flash and the sound of an explosion. That's it, he's not building a weapon, he's building a light switch. Signal goes out and the whole room drops into darkness. This is the pivot. Everything before this was set up for the arena to change, and it just did. Murray clocks it immediately. Pureblood awakeners mana interference traits used to kill the lights. He calls it a childish ploy, because obviously, blinding an upper-class knight can't matter, right? Except plot twist, even Murray can barely make out figures in this pitch black. The tier superior guy is now, functionally, just a strong guy who can't see. Darkness is the great equalizer, and it just deleted his rank advantage. And this is the part everyone will replay. Zeke moves as though his vision is completely unbothered, because it is draconian skill Dragonclaw activates, and he's operating in the dark like the lights never went off. He didn't just even the fight, he inverted it. Murray's internal monologue is doing all the work for me. This is a first-year cadet sword strike. No, this isn't like that at all. When the boss starts questioning your character sheet, you're winning. Here's the tier read that actually matters. Zeke hasn't adjusted to the dark. He was never disadvantaged by it. His movements look the same as before the lights died. Everyone else is fighting a shadow. He's fighting a guy standing in a spotlight only he can see. Then he just disappears. Murray's down to a hazy figure, describing it as fighting a shadow, and the ambient noise is scrubbing every trace of Zeke's footsteps. This is a first-year turning an Imperial Knight into a horror movie victim. Quick pullback, this is why the darkness gimmick is smarter than it looks. It's not that Zeke got stronger, it's that he removed the one thing carrying Murray's tier. Take away sight, and rank is just a number. And remember, I told you to hold onto the cradle fight. Here's the payoff. Riene's interference plus the flash is the exact combo, and Zeke drops the line. Perfect timing, Riene. The weak teammate he roasted earlier is the one setting the trap. Which forces Zeke to walk back his own cold open. Got me disregarding her is unnecessary. The guy who said honor's useless to the weak just admitted the weak one was load-bearing. That's the whole arc of the fight in 2 lines. So the final scaling verdict, nobody outmuscled the upper-class knight. They outthought his rank clean off the board, bloodline exploit, single flash, and a draconian skill that made sight optional. Zeke's real tier isn't a number, it's that he keeps changing the game the number is measured in. My prediction, this first-year sword strike moment cracks Zeke's cover harder than any raw power flex could, an examiner who won't be able to unsee it. Bet Murray becomes the next person quietly asking what this kid actually is. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. This kid spends the entire chapter trying to be a nobody, and graduates as the youngest knight ever admitted to the most elite order on the continent. 2 years of hiding and the paperwork rats him out anyway. Welcome back. This one's a time skip, and it's basically the universe refusing to let Zeke be boring. We open on the aftermath of that Murray fight. Some instructors storming around going, "You did a number on someone else's disciple," which is a very polite way of saying 2 first years just bullied an upper class knight. And Murray, he's not mad, he's thinking. Here's the part everyone glosses over. Murray replays it. Zeke intentionally threw his sword away to raise his guard. He had a clean counterattack sitting right there. He didn't take it. And Murray lands on the exact truth. The goal was never to win. It was to advance, reveal your ability only to the extent that's strictly necessary. That's not exam nerves. That's a 13-year-old with a career's worth of discipline. Hold on to this, read. It's the whole personality. So the examiner's verdict is one line. Draker is beyond my capacity to evaluate. Prediction number 1, a man who can't measure you doesn't forget you. Murray shows up again later, and it's a coin flip whether it's as a fan or a problem. The grade meeting rubber stamps it. Rena jumps to 3rd grade, Zeke to 5th, and then the narration does something sneaky. It hands us 2 full years in about 6 panels. After this, I lived as quietly as possible. Sir, you are the 5th grade at 13. That is not quiet. That's the loudest thing in the building whispering. He drains Duke for every last Gale art, then quietly hands his training slot off to Andre. Stays cool with Professor Fanon until Fanon gets poached by a royal magic lab in Delphoa. Little goodbye, no drama. He's tying off relationships like a man packing for a trip. But the detail that got me, Owen. Every single quarter, Owen comes back to request a duel. Every quarter, presumably, he loses. Then one day he just awakens to something, files for leave, and locks himself in a closed training hall. That's not quitting. That's a villain going to the gym. Remember him. 2 years blink by and Zeke graduates at 15. Q. Decker, beaming like a proud dad, ready to ruin the low profile completely. The news, Zeke's been admitted into Valhalla, the youngest ever, with the dean personally writing his recommendation letter. So the entire continent now knows his name. Fantastic work, everyone. And Zeke's reaction is the funniest thing in the chapter. He doesn't celebrate. He calculates that the title youngest to be admitted renders his 2 years of careful, quiet living completely null and void. The man is grieving his own spotlight. 3 months until the entrance ceremony. So what does the youngest knight in Valhalla history do with a break? He tells Decker he intends to rest quietly by himself. I don't want to be anyone, buddy. That ship sailed with the recommendation letter. Except rest is a lie. Cut to a map, the giant mountains where Kaiser's remains lie. If you were here in chapter 27, that's the relic map, the achievement quest, the whole hero king thread. Told you that map would matter. He's not vacationing. He's grave robbing a legend. The cover story is airtight. Enter through the Argos Kingdom's Adventurers Guild. Don't tell any suspicious people where you're actually going, which is peak Zeke. Reveal only what's necessary. See that Murray read from earlier. It's not just combat, it's how he runs his entire life. Before he leaves, Liam shows up and greets him with full formal ceremony, and Zeke's like, I told you to ease up. Liam's been bumped to the special class, and Zeke, being Zeke, cannot let a protege just exist. He's pre-organized everything. Semester exams, expected exam questions, training manuals, essential items, and a standing account at Fafnir's breath so Liam can even commission a personal sword in his 4th year. Paid in full. This isn't mentorship, it's a care package with a 5-year roadmap. Then I have faith you'll follow after me, Liam, and Liam immediately vows, at full volume, to absolutely live up to expectations. Zeke, flat as a board, it's been 1 minute since I told you to ease up. Liam, I shall rectify my behavior. These two are a sitcom. Quick world building because it's actually load-bearing. Argos sits at the northernmost edge of the continent, one of the great kingdoms next to Delphoa and Alentia. Its whole economy is dungeons. The first king turned the giant mountains into a business, and the Argos Adventurers Guild now runs the entire continent's dungeon trade. And Zeke's logic is clean. To move in peace, register as an adventurer, because walking around as a Draker would make him stand out. Which, again, the youngest Valhalla knight worrying about standing out is the recurring joke of the whole chapter. Time to go on a treasure hunt. Prediction 2, this quiet vacation ends with him standing over the remains of a hero king with a new secret technique. That's not a break, that's a boss dungeon with extra steps. On the caravan he shares a ride during busy season, and 2 veteran adventurers immediately start working him first time in a dungeon. You look nervous. Reader, he is 13 months of nightmares and an Elder Dragon system away from nervous. They lay it on thick, dungeon's been dangerous, one mistake and your monster chow. Zeke's internal review is a masterpiece of 2 words. Trash like this exists wherever you go, huh? No notes, devastating. And their real hustle drops. The first party into a dungeon uses new adventurers as monster bait or sells them off to slave traders. So these 2 aren't warning him. They're shopping. Zeke's the target, except Zeke is never the target. Then he just mentions it. Monsters 500 meters behind us to the left. Orcs, I think. They laugh. Look how nervous this little rookie is. The routes are kingdom managed. Not even wild animals get into the safe zone. Q, what's that behind you? Orcs roaming a managed safe zone, which Zeke instantly reads as, the base isn't operating properly, someone made a mess here, and with this much manpower, ordinary monsters shouldn't have stood a chance. Translation, something wiped out an entire Argos guard post. And the chapter's last gut punch, it's not a monster. Whatever cleared this base wasn't a beast, which on a hunt for Kaiser's remains is the worst possible tease. My prediction, Zeke's cover as a nervous rookie lasts about 1 more panel, and whatever's out there is tied to the very thing he came to dig up. But the quiet vacation is the loudest arc yet. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The Emperor is tearing the entire continent inside out hunting for immortality, and the one immortal guy he'd kill for standing in his kill zone, bored. This chapter is one long dramatic irony, so let's connect the dots. We open on a crime scene, men killed cleanly, single strike each, staged to look like a monster mauled them. Zeke takes 1 look, too clean, monsters don't leave a cut like that. His read, this was a purple night minimum. Remember the exam where his 368-point run made instructors question reality. Same energy, he clocks a top-tier kill the way you clock a typo. So he pieces out before anyone thinks he did it. Immortal war criminal energy, I might form misunderstandings. Yeah, that's the concern here. Then a symbol barbarian territory, which means he's basically at Kaiser's ruins. The map from that second mystery box back in chapter 27 is paying off in real time. Keep the ruins in mind, they run this whole episode. But and this is the part that got me, he spots them. The Empire's hunting dogs. Quick context because these guys matter. Recruited from the deadliest night trainees in the Empire, direct control of the Emperor, trained in tracking and assassination. A ghost unit only the very top even knows exists. And Zeke recognizes their tracking style instantly. I could never forget these techniques. Same trick as the dragon-slaying arts, he doesn't learn things, he relearns them from a life he already lived. So why are the Emperor's personal dogs sniffing around a barbarian wasteland? Because the man is obsessed with immortality and is turning the whole world upside down to find it. And this tracks, pun intended, because even before the regression, the Emperor was hoarding rare artifacts. Chapter 27 told us he's the one hunting the Elder Dragon relic. Guess who's carrying that relic in his back pocket? His whole dream is to unify the continent, and he's staking it on beating death. Zeke's basically going, you built an empire chasing something I toggle off with a thought. The immortality toggle from chapter 26 is now the funniest flex in this series. Then the real gut punch question, could the Empire have already found Kaiser's ruins? He decides to confirm it himself, and right on cue a gold flare goes up. Emergency signal. He walks up on a perimeter team, 3 men, should be 12. Do the math, 9 are missing and the base behind them is packed full. He already knows what happened here. They do the classic Mook thing, who are you, who sent you? He answers by asking who's in charge, then delivers the new tagline, those who draw their sword against McCain will be put to rest. Remember that name. And then he cooks, southern knifemanship, clean and brutal, the exact hitman style he clocked at the crime scene earlier. He's not just fighting, he's forging an alibi mid-slaughter. This reminds me of old times. Back in his past life, his boss sent him to raid cartels, so this isn't new to him. Man's got a whole resume we're only now finding out about. One of them begs for an easy death. Zeke's response is the coldest line in the chapter. Is that what you say to the man who massacred your comrades? Do you people care so little you wouldn't tear me apart for it? Mid-fight the lights die. Skill, mana reflection activated. Power outage at the worst possible moment for them. And here's the callback I was waiting for. They panic. Is this a Dragon Slayer's mana interference? That's Riene's weakness. The exact thing Zeke exploited against her in the cradle and again versus Murray. Now he's the one weaponizing it. Full circle. But the funniest beat is Zeke himself, genuinely confused. Are the hunting dogs too weak now, or have I just gotten too strong? The Emperor's elite assassins, and he's mildly disappointed. Now the galaxy brain part. He used southern knifemanship on purpose and left McCain's signature warning. He's framing a southern crime cartel for a hit he did. And it's a win no matter what. If the Empire buys it, great, his cover holds. If the Empire retaliates, they wipe out McCain for him. He literally cannot lose. This is the same brain that turned the Zimmons rigged exam into a karma farm. Then he finds a letter, the Emperor's enclosure operation map, central continent, the eastern ceasefire regions, even the unexplored dark seas. Anywhere he suspects ancient ruins, he sent hunting dogs. Which means the dogs are already back at the scale they were before he regressed. A timeline detail he clearly did not expect this early. But told you the ruins mattered. The letter confirms they still haven't found Kaiser's ruins. So it's a race and Zeke's got the head start. Best to hurry. And then the sky answers him, a red flare. That's not emergency anymore. That's a signal for disaster. My bet, the ruins race just went hot, and next chapter Zeke walks into whatever caused 9 missing bodies. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Elite Imperial assassins drop a death trap on him that killed an actual emperor, and he beats it with a party whistle he learned to build in a life that hasn't happened yet. That's the whole chapter, so lock this in. Zeke doesn't outfight anyone here, he outremembers them. So the 5-part red flare goes up. That flare from the end of last chapter that everyone treated as a scary background prop. Yeah, it's the absolute snare, an assassination protocol that locks a target in a zone the hunting dogs won't leave until he's dead. And to sell how cooked he's supposed to be, even a former Northern Continent emperor got caught in this exact snare and died in it. That's the resume of the thing hunting him. A guy who ran a continent couldn't slip it. Zeke's response is very Zeke, cool as ever. However, I have the system now. No panic, no sweat. He's been handed the god machine running this world, and he's treating Imperial death squads like a mild scheduling conflict. He clocks them instantly, knew it. And here's the first upgrade. These aren't the disposable goons from the cave he mulched last chapter. He notes it himself, they are on a completely different level. The real hunting dogs finally showed up. Now watch the brain, because this is where he's actually smart. He runs the math. Based on what they've shown, he could just escape. Easy. Physically he's fine. But escaping personally torches the alibi he built framing the McCain cartel for the massacre. So he can't win by winning. If he flexes, he blows the cover he spent a whole chapter constructing. He sighs, didn't want to use this, but it can't be helped. Hold onto that word this, because it's about to be the dumbest, best answer possible. Step 1 is textbook, smoke bomb, boom, visibility gone, plus a loud sound. The assassins clock it correctly. The noise is a distraction, the smoke is cover. They're not stupid, they've done this before. Their captain keeps everyone calm. Don't panic, the absolute snare is still active. He literally cannot run, take your stations, and hunt for his shadow. Confident, composed, textbook containment, everything they're trained for. Then the confidence starts leaking. They can't sense a single trace of him. And you can watch the doubt creep in. Did he think we'd retreat just from losing sight? Or did that horn he blew earlier mean something else? Buddy, it meant everything else. And here it comes, barbarians. Not one, not a scouting party. The entire tribe pouring in en masse, screaming for blood. The disciplined little assassination op instantly becomes a war. The assassins are baffled in real time. We're sure we could take 1 or 2, but why are they attacking en masse? Because none of you speak barbarian, and one of you does, and he is not on your team. They fall back on the classic imperial arrogance. How dare you uncivilized brutes intrude? Which is genuinely funny because the brutes aren't intruding. You are on their land, that's the joke, that's literally the trap. The captain admits he's never seen the barbarians this enraged, and read the room, we're in danger with our current forces. The absolute snare, the trap an emperor died to, and it's suddenly their emergency. And there it is, withdrawing the absolute snare. The unbreakable deathlock called off, not broken by force, not outfought, just made too expensive to keep running. He didn't beat the trap, he made the trappers want to leave. Zeke's verdict on his own plan, far more effective than expected. Even he is a little surprised it worked this well. Rare crack in the deadpan. Now the payoff on the horn. It's a barbarian tool of war built for fast communication in the chaos of battle. So one blast doesn't summon a mob, it broadcasts a specific message. It's not a whistle, it's a radio. And here's the thesis landing with a thud. In his past life, Zeke befriended the Mohican tribe, and they taught him to both make and use this horn. A relationship from a timeline nobody else even remembers just cleared a room of elite assassins. That's his real weapon, not the sword, the memory. The message he blasted, that outsiders were intruding on their sacred motherland. He didn't make the barbarians angry, he aimed them. He turned the assassins into the one thing that tribe hates most, in a language only he speaks. And the writing sneaks in a genuinely classy beat. Everyone calls the barbarians simplistic, uncivilized savages, and Zeke flatly corrects it. They have clear cultures, traditions, real civilizations. The guy weaponizing them is also the only one who actually respects them. Nice touch, most recaps skip. One catch, the replica's shoddy, single use, then it's dead. So this isn't a repeatable cheat code. He spent the trick, which is very deliberate writing. The escape hatch is gone, so the next problem has to be solved the hard way. Assassins handled, he doesn't even celebrate. Straight to business. Time to find the real ruins. This whole Death Squad ambush was a speed bump between him and hero King Kaiser's tomb. His only comment on nearly dying to an emperor-killing trap, one thing after another. The exhaustion of a man who has already lived one full lifetime and is deeply over it. Keep that ruin in mind, we're walking straight into it. An immediately new problem. The system pings contaminated energy and drops a term we haven't heard, a fallen dragonborn, so the tomb isn't empty, something's living in it, something wrong. He spots the door and payoff on chapter 27, asks the system, can I open that? Administrator's request confirmed, connecting to the home of the hero King Kaiser administration system. Told you that intermediate authority would matter. The god machine just unlocks Kaiser's tomb for him. He has the master key. But the fallen dragonborn is in the way, so he doesn't brute force it. He uses shadows to mess with its vision and moves to slip past into the entrance quietly. Sneaking, even now, cover first, fight second, then it notices him. When it doesn't work, he stops sneaking. Dragon-slaying arts, dragon severance, one clean verse, one clean cut. This is the pre-regression training paying off yet again. He's swinging teacher-tier arts he drilled in a life that's already over. Then the twist, the blood's acidic, so his healing factor kicks on automatically. And the reveal lands, acidic blood, 9 heads. That's not a lizard, that's a hydra dragon that even his master in his past life barely managed to subjugate. Barely. And it cuts on the fastest. He's already planning the most efficient way to gut a monster his teacher nearly died to. Here's my read. The horn proved the thesis, but this fight is the real test, beating a threat his master only survived alone at 15. If he one-shots this hydra, the cover story is officially unsalvageable. But the next chapter is where somebody finally figures out exactly what he is. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Dragons went extinct in this world, so the whole power system reorganized around one question. What's the closest thing left? The answer is a dragonborn, and this chapter, one of them puts an immortal on the floor. We open on a flashback of someone who is not having a good time. Every strike lands, and the thing just heals it back instantly. How is this dragon slaying? Sir, that's the point. You're fighting something built like a dragon with a knight's toolkit, wrong tier, wrong tools. He tops out at this is too much for my current skills, and someone orders the door sealed. Close the door, confirmed. The home of the hero King Kaiser locks, with the monster left inside. Keep that door in mind, it's the whole map for today. Cut to Zeke, who from last chapter has been sneaking through Kaiser's tomb in the shadows. He spots his opening and decides to slip through the door instead of fighting whatever's in there. Reasonable plan, held for exactly one panel. Then it uncoils, 9 heads, Hydra. Yeah, the same regenerating nightmare from the flashback, still in here, still waiting. So on the scaling chart, this is not a mob. This is the boss the last guy couldn't beat and had to be walled off from. It offers the classic villain line, if you want my arm that badly, and lunges. Now here's the scaling read. Zeke's whole build is regeneration 2. Healing factor, infinite stamina, immortal class. He's basically fighting a mirror that hits harder. And then the thing plays a card he doesn't have. Poison. The system flags it, struck by the 9-headed dragon Hydra's poison. This is the part that matters. You can out-heal damage, but poison doesn't hit your health bar. It corrupts the mechanic that refills it. The Hydra calls it this is the end, and for a second the numbers agree with it, but Zeke's got a card of his own. Draconian skill, Dragon's Dignity, activated. A pressure skill, the kind that makes lesser things freeze on instinct. If you don't want me to crush you, he says, dead calm, mid-poisoning. And the wild part is Dragon's Dignity actually lands on a Dragonborn. Even Zeke's surprised. He figured a dragon-adjacent monster would shrug off a dragon fear aura. It didn't. But he's paying for it. He notices he's exhausted, which shouldn't happen with infinite stamina permanently on. The answer's the poison, quietly eating the one resource he never has to think about. Even the cheat skills have an off switch, and the Hydra found it. Here's where you rank them properly. Straight fight. The Hydra's ahead, it counters his entire kit, so let's log the matchup before it flips. Because the fear worked, the system offers the shortcut. Activate Dragonic Control Authority and subjugate the target. Remember Chapter 27, when he got bumped to Intermediate Administrator? Hold onto that authority number, it's about to get called in. And you can see him light up. Does this mean I'm going to subjugate this absolute monster? Free 9-headed dragon on the roster. That'd be the biggest power spike in the series, which is exactly why the system says no. You lack the required administrator authority. Subjugation failed. Told you the authority number mattered. Intermediate isn't enough to leash a thing this high on the chart. The God Machine has a paywall, and Zeke's not premium yet. And his reaction is the whole personality in 2 lines. Geez, I was looking forward to it. Then, immediately, a cheat skill with no restrictions would have been weirder anyway. Man gets denied a free dragon and self-consoles with game balance. Problem is, the timer's still running. Poison surpasses dangerous levels, and here's the scary line: his healing factor isn't working on it. The one stat that makes him immortal just got told not this one. He clocks it. The Hydra must carry a poison resistance bloodline. So he stops trying to win the fight and switches to the actual power move. Gluttony, the draconian skill from Chapter 25 that lets him eat anything and absorb what it was. He eats the Hydra's severed head, and the reward log is absurd. Gluttony ranks up, energy recovered, bloodline ability absorbed, and because he only ate a portion, he gets the incomplete constitution poison resistance. He didn't beat the counter, he digested it. Next line, the poison's detected again, and poison resistance neutralizes it on contact. Read what just happened on the tier chart. The exact ability that hard countered him is now his. That's not winning the fight, that's editing your own stat sheet mid-battle. Status window check, class, immortal, unique. Constitution now reads divine body and poison resistance. Gluttony jumped beginner to expert in 1 meal. This is a kid who levels by lunch. The detail everyone skips: incantation. It's been locked and flat this entire series, hasn't budged once, and it finally ticks up here. The system explains why. The Hydra was an elimination target life form, a designated kill that pays bonus rewards. So log the mechanic because it reframes everything. Certain monsters are worth more to the system than others, which means somewhere there's a list, and Zeke just learned farming it is how you unlock the stuff points can't buy. Poison handled, boss digested, he just goes. The Hydra was holding me back, time to move. The thing that walled off the last challenger is now a footnote in his commute. Cold. Then the lore drop on hero King Kaiser. Half human, half fairy, son of a wise sage and the fairy monarch herself. Stolen from his parents by an evil mage, abandoned in a forest and raised by a sacred wolf. Standard fantasy origin, dial cranked to founding god. He grows up, frees the oppressed humans, and builds the Chronos kingdom in the central continent for them. Everyone alive knows the legend, but there's almost no proof left. It's dismissed as pure myth, however. The proof is standing right in front of him. The ruins are smaller than the books promised, but Zeke realizes these aren't the ruins near Kaiser's home. They're the Chronos kingdom itself. He clocks it, feels like the Dragon Slayer's home, too. The legend was real. The home of the hero King Kaiser opens, and remember that sealed door from the intro. Same architecture, now unlocked by the guy with admin access. An achievement quest fires, Kaiser's secret technique, and a warning slams down, he can't leave until it's done. Then a voice, hey you, who do you think you are? And the payoff for locking him in, the linked quest, Kaiser's wisdom, rewards the fairy monarch's tears. Kaiser's own mother, an existence that grants the wishes of men. So here's my scaling prediction. The Hydra was a warm-up, and the actual power spike this arc is a wish-granting artifact from a literal monarch of fairies. Bet Zeke aims that at the Emperor's whole immortality hunt. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The prize at the end of this legendary tomb is a fairy that grants literally any wish you want, the fairy monarch's tears. Zeke's reaction. He walks right past it to go get bullied by a dead man's ghost. Prediction episode lock in because these clues are unhinged. Here's the thing, the tears is an existence that grants the wishes of men, a genuine cheat-level treasure. But Zeke clocks the catch instantly. If you don't know how to use it, it's a very shiny paperweight, so instead of grabbing loot, he asks the system for the wisdom. The system cracks open Kaiser's magic video recording device and pulls entry 546, one of 12 videos the hero king left behind. Basically ancient YouTube. Keep those 12 in mind, the number's going to matter. It's recorded in ancient Chronosian, a dead language, so the system translates it live. And then there he is, the man of legends everyone insisted was a fairy tale, on tape. First thing legendary hero King Kaiser does on camera, roast old men. A sword's a sword. Senile geezers who can't even swing one always spout that kind of nonsense. Immediately my favorite character. His most loyal knight, Sheltern, is on camera duty, hands shaking so hard the screen won't hold still. Remember this guy. Medieval shaky cam is about to matter more than you'd think. And there's the confirmation, he really did exist after all. Last chapter we learned Kaiser was half human, half fairy, written off as myth, called it, this entire tomb is the receipt. The lesson itself, how do you wield a sword well, swing it often, revolutionary, but he sharpens it, the real question isn't whether, it's how much, and he promises to show the goal. Now the genuinely insane part, the spirit in this recording is so overwhelming it physically affects Zeke through a video. A dead man on tape is still radiating enough presence to stagger a living regressor. So Zeke does what every obsessive does with a good tutorial, replays it from the top and locks himself in to grind. 4 days, no leaving. The tomb's got 3 doors. Door 1, a food pantry stocked for months. Door 2, a rest area to manage your body. Door 3, a room packed with books and weapons of war. Establish, reinforce, okay. Door 3 escalated fast. Because this whole place is a training room built for Kaiser's successor. Which is the question the chapter keeps quietly asking, successor to what, exactly? Hold that thought. Zeke grinds until he can perfectly mimic the form from the video, just from watching. He's 15, copying a dead legend's swordsmanship off a tape like it's a dance tutorial. System pings, he's acquired hero King Kaiser's wisdom, elemental sword, basic form. And then, immediately, he blows straight past basic into the applied level. An applied level means summoning hero King Kaiser's actual soul, the king of ancient Chronos standing in the flesh in front of him. This stopped being a tutorial 3 seconds ago. Zeke mask completely cracked, the hero king is right in front of my eyes. Yeah, buddy, same. First interaction, Kaiser blows him clean across the room with a single guard stance. Zeke says he's only felt this once, facing his master in his past life. That's the scale we're playing at now. Kaiser trashes his pathetic skills, says the knights of old would weep at the sight, then admits he's only attacking to confirm what Zeke can actually do. It's not a beatdown, it's a test. Then the clue that made me sit up. Kaiser asks if Zeke's Sheltern's disciple, says he barely succeeded and can't quite remember the power's name, Aurora. Remember the shaky cameraman? Somehow his talent is inside Zeke. Nobody explained how, bookmark that. And Zeke's read on him, this guy is way too strong for how bored he looks doing it. Kaiser's entire philosophy, one line, all that matters is how fun it is. Now let's have some fun. There is a wish-granting fairy in the next room and this man just wants to brawl. Peak legend behavior. Zeke stops holding back, critical strike, high-speed movement, and dragon claw all light up at once. Full draconian kit on the table. Kaiser catches it instantly. Despite not being a dragonoid, you wield draconian powers, and then spots the elemental force layered on top. He's reading this kid like a stat sheet. Then the big one, weakling, you've finally awoken. Quite the talent. Kaiser lists 3 things stacked inside one boy: Sheltern's talent, draconian powers, and elemental force. That's 3 separate cheat codes running in a single body. But the sharpest clue is this. Kaiser says part of Zeke's soul is stuck in the spirit realm, and that despite a human body, he's overcome the wall of death. Read that again, the regression, the immortality toggle. Kaiser just diagnosed the whole secret out loud, and Zeke's trying not to flinch. Zeke plays dumb and begs him to explain it simply. Kaiser sees straight through it. The young boy pretends not to know what he's trying to learn. You cannot bluff a dead king. And the cliffhanger, I am elemental sword. So here's my prediction, Kaiser's soul becomes Zeke's personal teacher. An elemental sword is the exact wisdom he needs to actually use that wish fairy. 12 videos means 11 more lessons still locked. My real bet, the spirit realm, soul fragment, and Aurora are the key to how Kaiser cheated death himself, which loops straight back to the Emperor's immortality hunt. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. What if your whole signature power was a knockoff, and you only find out when a 2,000-year-old king calls it pathetic to your face. That's the day Zeke's having. So last chapter, Kaiser diagnosed Zeke with 3 separate power systems, like a divorce lawyer splitting assets. This chapter class is in session: elemental force, the raw natural stuff that makes up everything, and the elemental sword that weaponizes it. First element up, wind, the Tempest sword. Kaiser demos it, and it's the standard mentor casually shows off a nuke beat every training arc runs, except this mentor's a summoned soul, so even the flex is a callback. And the engine behind all of it is ether, the thing Kaiser keeps naming like Zeke should already feel it humming. Zeke, internally, I feel absolutely nothing. Then the classic now you try handoff, every training arc's favorite cliff to shove the student off. And we get the most relatable mentor exchange in fiction. Convert the ether. How? You just kind of do it. Every genius teacher ever. Hold on to that line, it matters in a sec. Zeke, done waiting for actual instructions, decides to wing it solo. Bold move. Kaiser's expression shifts to suspicious immediately. And what comes out is soul manifestation, Gale. The exact Gale arts he grinded off Duke and half the Gale Knights back in the academy days. Kaiser loses it. I said elemental force. What knockoff imitation is that? Turns out our boy's been flexing a bootleg this entire series. Here's the reveal: that power is incantation, and incantation is the exclusive domain of dragons. Humans literally cannot use it. Remember that, he's not supposed to be able to do this at all. And Kaiser clocks the price tag. Every time Zeke fires it off, he blows past his own limits. Which, callback, is exactly why his incantation stat sat locked for 100+ years until the Hydra cracked it open. The reason's brutal and simple: dragon souls are just bigger than human ones. Zeke can copy the technique all day, he will never match the output. So Kaiser's official verdict on Zeke's signature move: a low-grade knockoff, pathetic actually. Just want to be clear, this is the power he's beaten real knights unconscious with. Then the system chimes in draconian skill: incantation. Your words are filled with power. Status, locked. Administrator lacks experience. Classic RPG, you can see the button, you can't press it yet. And here's the payoff on that line I told you to hold. If his bootleg is a broke version of incantation, then unlocking incantation means the real thing. His knockoff doesn't get replaced, it gets upgraded to a masterpiece. So naturally he files it under yet another reason to grow stronger, as fast as possible. This man collects motivational reasons like loyalty stamps. Time skip montage: application training drags way longer than the basics. Divine body, endless spars, Kaiser demos on loop until it clicks. Ether drives the spirits, mana drives the sword. Trivial once you understand it, he says after weeks. Kaiser finally lets him rest, and Zeke instantly uses rest to interrogate a 2,000-year-old man. The kid's idea of a break is a cue and a session. First question's the sharp one. Back when they met, why did Kaiser call him Sheltern's disciple the second he saw him use aura? Answer: Sheltern, Kaiser's right-hand knight, is the guy who decided humans couldn't use elemental sword and built aura as the workaround. The entire age of aura, one man's patch job. And the mic drop: Sheltern was a Draker, meaning the Draker progenitor isn't Terrican, the ancestor the whole family history is built around. It's Sheltern, and nobody in the present knows. Next, Zeke asks about the spirit realm. Kaiser: it's basically the afterlife. Leave your body, cross in, and there's a wall, you don't come back, which is the same death wall Kaiser said Zeke already climbed over. Zeke immediately pokes the plot hole: but part of my soul's over there, and you're standing here as a soul. This kid does not let a contradiction slide, even from a legend. Kaiser admits Zeke's case is a first for him, but there are ways to cross. In his own case, a dragon helped him over. Which sets up the trope flip of the whole chapter. Dragons, Kaiser says flatly, are beings that cherish humans. Cherish. After 35 chapters of dragons being the walking apocalypse. Then he drops it casually: Zeke's heart, and the very fang his sword's forged from gifts from Bahamut. The evil dragon final boss threat. Turns out Zeke's clan worships him, and he just hands out presents to people he likes. And Kronos, yeah, the kingdom is named after another dragon. Kaiser's companion, who sat drinking tea while Kaiser agonized over the name, which prompts Zeke's most urgent question of the day: dragons drink tea, is that the polymorph thing? So the real history lands. Ancient dragons polymorphed down, signed contracts, and called their humans contractors. Every legendary ancient hero was busted because a dragon was carrying them. The power scaling of an entire era, quietly explained. Which leaves the one thing Kaiser refuses to answer. So why did dragons and humans split? He waves it off. He'll tell the whole chronicle later. Keep that gap wide open, because that's the actual story this arc is circling. And to close, Kaiser rewards progress by banning eating and sleeping, running the duel until he alone calls it, same element only. Break a rule, one life. My prediction, Zeke breaks one inside 2 chapters, and it becomes his best move yet. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The single strongest, most unkillable guy on the continent spends this entire chapter getting his teeth kicked in by a vocabulary word. That's the whole episode. Zeke Draker, infinite stamina, dragon heart, immortal class, meets one concept called fluidity and completely falls apart. Everything he's ever won with is strength. This is the chapter where strength stops being the answer. Kaiser splits the elemental sword into fields, and he opens with the fun one. Fire, heat, flames, pure destructive power. The Manhwa reincarnator starter pack, big number, things explode. Then he rattles through the rest like a menu. One field for controlling solidity and mass. One built on wind, weaker punch than fire, but it's all attack speed, high-speed movement, sword aura, and then the last one. Guess which one becomes Zeke's entire personality for the next month. The water field, attack and defense both, suppression, support, and his words, water itself possessing strength, which is the phrase that's about to ruin Zeke's life because he hears strength and thinks he's already got that covered. So he tries it, and immediately, just what is this? Power and range should be greater, they are not. He calls it half-baked, out loud, to the legendary founder of a kingdom, and the legendary founder of a kingdom responds the way any good teacher does, by smacking him. That was the power of a waterfall, not of water. And here's the actual lesson if you don't skip it. Every other field you just manifest the right attribute and swing with everything you've got, done. Water is different. Water is about fluidity. Fluidity, Kaiser says, will trump strength. Then, now, again. Zeke's internal monologue verbatim. What kind of bullshit are you spouting? Relatable. He does not get it. And you have to understand why this breaks him specifically. Strength is his whole thing. Last we saw him get cornered, trapped in Kaiser's tomb, poison bypassing his healing factor, that 9-headed hydra draining his infinite stamina dry. The takeaway he walked out with was, I need to be stronger. To survive, to protect what's his, strength has been his entire life. So a man telling him to be softer sounds like a joke. You're telling me fluidity beats strength. Did I just nod off during our duel? Deadpan denial, peak. Then time does the thing. He stops counting after the 15th day. It's been at least a month. A month of non-stop dueling, no food, no rest, just getting worked by an old man made of soul and spite. Hold on to that number, by the way. The whole point is what it costs him. And that's when the guy with infinite stamina admits it. Stamina isn't all-powerful, not in front of a monster that overwhelms you, which that's the Hydra again. That's him finally learning the lesson the tomb tried to teach him. Told you strength wasn't going to be the answer. I can't put any strength into my arm now. And then he notices it. The floor is slippery. He can't power through anymore, so he slides, redirects, parries a heavy attack he had no strength left to block. I managed to parry that, not with force, with flow. Now I get it. It's the strength to grip your sword and the strength to stay standing after you've cast that strength aside. 2 different strengths. He was only ever using one. Suddenly Kaiser's words land. The method he was actually being taught this whole time. Don't overpower the blade, control its arc, bind its freedom, then slip away like water flows and carve your own path. He wasn't supposed to beat the current. He was supposed to become it. And here's the part everyone reads right past. He says he's felt this before, in his past life. The line between his sword and himself blurred, and he felt as one with the world around him. Which means this isn't new. It's a door he already opened once, before the regression, before all of it. At times, violent. And then the water field actually manifests, the thing he'd been faking for months suddenly real, alive, moving with him instead of against him. The fluidity finally won. Kaiser's verdict is one line, successor to my teachings, Zeke Draker. A month ago this kid called his masterpiece half-baked, now he's the heir to it. So that's the chapter. The strongest guy alive got humbled into learning that strength was never the ceiling. My bet, that felt it in my past lifeline, isn't a throwaway. It ties back to Kaiser saying part of Zeke's soul is stuck in the spirit realm, and I think the water field is how he starts pulling it back. Tell me I'm reaching in the comments. This kid's got a dragon god's heart sealed inside his chest, 90% of a power that could erase him on contact, and he spends most of this chapter shopping for boots that match his gauntlets. Chapter 37, and we're doing a full power scaling audit because the numbers this episode are genuinely stupid. First though, he passes out, and here's the tell nobody clocks. The system notes this is his second time losing consciousness. The first was the Duke duel, where the system force-quit him for overusing draconian skills. This time, no override, he just hit his body's actual physical ceiling, which on the power chart is enormous. A regressor whose body has infinite stamina and healing factor got trained so hard by Kaiser's soul that he flatlined the old-fashioned way. You don't outgrind unlimited stamina. Kaiser did. He wakes up mid-panic. Did his soul get yanked back to the spirit realm? What about the quest? Hold on to the spirit realm thing, by the way. It keeps circling back and it's going to matter. Then the system just goes, quest complete, plus a time bonus because he mastered the water field faster than expected. A month of getting bodied and it pays out early. Rude, but efficient. And the payout is absurd. Fairy Monarch's Tears, 500 karma, 3 random skill cards, and that's just the linked quest. The achievement quest cashes out separately. He hit 2 jackpots for 1 training arc. Second payout bumps him to intermediate administrator. New system functions unlock. This is the part I care about because his real power isn't a sword, it's his admin rank. Every tier he climbs, the game hands him more cheat codes. Case in point, the minimap now has portal transportation. Fast travel anywhere on the continent for points, distance scaling the cost. On a power chart that's not flashy, but instant repositioning plus untraceable movement. That's an S-tier utility most protagonists would kill for. But here's the beat everyone skips, and it's the whole chapter. His soul grew, and that partially cracked the seal on Bahamut's heart. It's now at 90%, which sounds like progress until you read what 90% means. Quick status check because the sheet is genuinely unhinged. Class, immortal, unique, divine body, poison resistance. Elemental sword sitting at S rank, Gale arts expert, mana reflection A rank. This is a 15-year-old stat block. Now the seal math. When he first absorbed Bahamut's heart, it was compressing 95% of a power he couldn't handle. Now it's 90, meaning right now, at immortal class, he can safely wield 10% of what's inside him. So the actual power ceiling of this series isn't Zeke. It's the sealed 90% Zeke can't touch yet. He's a demo version of himself, and he figures the locked incantation and dragonic control probably unlock with the seal, not with points. You can't buy your way to godhood, you have to grow into it. Okay, back to the loot, and this is where it gets funny. The random boxes drop meteoric iron boots and lower body armor. Properties, none. They do nothing until he collects the full set. It's gacha with a completionist tax. Third item, crystal earrings, 15% mana recovery. His reaction to a legendary reward is, and I quote, "I could sell this to a mage for a good price." Man's got a dragon god in his ribs and he's flipping loot for pocket change. And his goal with the armor, complete the meteoric iron set so it matches his gauntlets. The most powerful teenager on the continent, and the drip is a priority. I respect it. Then the skill cards, static discharge, rank C, flashbang rank C, dissonance rank C, all 3. The system stacked the reveal and landed on the most anticlimactic possible flush. And instead of complaining, he's relieved. His logic, if the game handed out high-rank skills for free, all his grinding would be pointless. Volunteer work ethic, he's mad that easy power might exist. He tests static discharge, solid for a C rank, and he clocks that flashbang could outperform the artifact he used back in the grade advancement exam. Low rank, high application. That's the read. He doesn't need strong skills, he needs versatile ones. Next, unlock an item hotkey slot. Use items like skills instantly mid-fight. He does the math. Healing factor plus infinite stamina means he'd never need a potion, right? And then he catches himself, no, wait, every all-powerful skill this chapter had a hidden downside. He's never actually confirmed the limit of his healing factor. Murphy's Law, so the immortal buys insurance. He drops 350 karma on Salvation, a top-grade potion that instantly heals mortal wounds. The catch, it only works on you once ever and has an unknown effect. He's slotting a single-use panic button as a backup for his supposedly unlimited body. That's not overkill, that's how immortals survive. Which leaves the big one, Fairy Monarch's Tears. One use, summons the Fairy Monarch, who, per legend, grants a wish. If Kaiser's stories are true, this is a literal one-shot reality edit, and he pockets it, doesn't use it, filing that away for later because a saved wish is a loaded gun. Told you the spirit realm thread would circle back, the fairy monarch lives there, and part of Zeke's soul is stuck there too. That wish and that trapped soul are on a collision course, screenshot this beat. Then he test drives the portal and pops out at an adventurer outpost, real fast travel confirmed, and immediately clocks something off: flowers, blooming, in winter, there's no way right. There is a way, it's Valhalla, the continent's top night academy, and a dean is standing there informing him that in 10 years, he's never seen a freshman show up a full month after the entrance ceremony. Small problem, Zeke was locked in a tomb. Meet Flaubert Borges, and this tells you his tier without a single fight. Arthur Draker, the current patriarch, personally begged this man 3 times to take the dean job. When a transcendent household grovels 3 times, you're not a professor, you're a monster with a title. Borges values honor and order, so Zeke, who could lie for a living, reads the room and just tells the truth. Lost himself in a state of unity, blacked out for a month. I have no excuses, that is the truth, deploying honesty as a tactic against an honor guy. Chess. It works, but only because Howard's recommendation letter is doing the heavy lifting. Borges says, any other cadet, absurd, dismissed. I'll arrange a place. Zeke's inner monologue thanks that damned Howard. Called it back when Howard wrote that letter. It was never charity, it was a skeleton key. But there's a condition. Prove your month of tomb training was worth more than a month at Valhalla, or you're out. So Borges summons every department's full professors for a surprise entrance exam. Every single one is a knight famous enough to make the continental news. A panel of continent-famous knights assembled just to test one late freshman, ending on show us the fruits of your training. Here's my call, he doesn't just pass, he scares one of them badly enough that his cover starts leaking again. Man cannot stop being the most interesting person in every room. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments.